Yep. All right. I think we about live. Let me just check on, make sure audio is good. Audio is good. All right. I think we about live. Let me just check on. All right. So audio is good. Here we go. Okay. And all of a sudden, all right, there we go. All right. Peace. Love, harmony, and light. Family, what's going on? What's going on? This is Chief Kalanaga with a live video today. I'm going to give you guys some time to chime in. Got a new camera, so hopefully the audio is going to be, synced with, the, what have we here now? All right, give me a second, guys. Let me just get this together. Alrighty. For some reason, I'm not able to, okay. While I work on the technicalities, I'm just giving you guys some time to chime in. So just bear with me here for a second. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Is it? Nope, not at all. Where did this thing go? Here we go. Okay. All righty. All right, bear with me here, guys. Bear with me for a second. All right, greetings, peace and love to each and every one of you. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. And as you can see, the clarity of the video is a little more on point. So hey, just try my best to bring a better quality in terms of videos. But before I even get into the lecture today, I just want to take some time to give thanks. Give thanks to the Great Spirit. Give thanks to my ancestors, and thank them for being a conduit. That I could reach out to. That I could talk to. That I could communicate with. That I could commune with or to. In order to have access to the source, because they have the experience. They have already walked that walk. And as I step into my perfection, I continue to ask them for guidance. So I'm just letting them know that I acknowledge them, and all the work that I do is on their behalf. All right. So with that being said, I hope you guys are having a great day thus far. I hope you had a great sun rest. And I have a great lecture for you today. What I've come to realize is that, of course, I've done videos, talking about, identity and, the curse of calling yourself Black. But today I'm going to go a little more in depth. Okay, the information is going to be a little more detailed. And by no means I'm here to convince you of who you are or who you are not. All I'm doing is just giving you the facts. And the information I'm giving you today, by all means, do your own research. Okay, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you who or what to be. You have free will, and therefore I'm not going to impose on your free will. But with that being said, I am going to point out the detriments of you identifying yourself as certain things. And that's the problem that we are having. So I've put a lecture together. In the link below, there's a PDF. It's a gift from me to you, and it's the lesson plan for today. So you can always download it, share it, and go over it with your family. Because I personally believe, and that's just my belief, whether it's true or not, I believe that the more of us that get the information and the more of us that step into the truth, I think, it would, we would get there a whole lot faster. Okay. And the time is now, man. The time is now for us to step back into our rightful place. Okay. So I'm about to start this lecture. I'm going to share my screen. As you can see, the title of the video, The Curse of the Pale Man, to be black, to be in the black, or to be black is death. And I'm going to point that out to you today. And I'm certainly sure you guys are going to enjoy the lecture. All right. Those of you that's on the live feed, can you just give me a thumbs up or a yes that you have audio before I proceed? If you can, I would appreciate that so much. Thank you. So I'm going to once again give you guys some more time to chime in and just give me a feedback just to make sure that you know, audio is good for the most part. All right. All right, come on here. All right, guys, anybody, just, you know, give me a thumbs up or yes. All right, beautiful. We have audio. So that's a great thing. So let us get into this lesson today. All right. I'm going to share my screen and just enjoy yourself and relax. Let's do this. All right. Let's do this. I'm going to share my screen. Just so you know, this lecture is in the link below, but for those of you who may not be able to click on it, I don't see why not. You could also get it on our nation's website. So I just wanted to make sure that the information is accessible. All right, let me share the screen and let us get into this. All right, I'm not able to see what you are seeing, so I'm gonna assume that you guys can see the screen. I'm gonna make it a little bigger so that we could go through this. And here we are. Okay, let it get into focus. All right, let me just grab my phone a little bit here so I could chime in as well. I just want to make sure that we are actually on the same page here. Okay, give me a second, guys. Just bear with me. Also, just giving myself some time so others could get in on the live feed. Some people may be in church and some people may still be asleep because you know how that goes. All right, here we go. Some people may still be asleep. All right, so good. We good. All right, perfect. All right, good. So I think we could see this. All right. Okay, so the curse of the pale man. All right. To be in the black or be black is death. And the reason, we're going to take it from the top, and there's a reason for everything. Okay. The reason why I called this a lesson, the curse of the pale man, is because I'm going to get into the etymology of the word black. All right. And I'm going to show you exactly what it means. Now, after this lecture, if you so choose to call yourself black and you want to be dead, that's on you. Okay. But my thing is always, when you know better, well, they say when you know better, you do better. That may be true in some cases, but I'm going to kind of like give it my own twist. I'm going to say when you know better, you're supposed to do better, because a lot of times we know better and we just don't do better because we just want to stick with what we already know, not realizing the harm that we are causing to ourselves, not realizing that there's a detriment to calling ourselves these labels that were given to us by the colonizers. And everybody's screaming freedom. Everybody's screaming, oh, well, we want to be free. But brothers and sisters, family, anybody who's listening out there today, okay, freedom, okay, is literally, it's up to you. Nobody's going to give you freedom but you, okay, because you are self-governed. Well, you're supposed to be self-governed, all right? A man, a woman with sound mind, a sentient being, living, breathing flesh being, okay? But you see, that was taken away from us, and we were given statuses, titles that made us dead in law, in society, okay? And then you have so-called black people or so-called African Americans. They are in the streets screaming Black Lives Matter, when the truth of the matter is black life don't matter, because there's no such thing as a black life. So all these organizations that's pushing these agendas, they know the truth. They know the truth. But because it's all about commerce, it's all about business, it's all about usurping your energy, your currency. Once again, may I reiterate, on every job, there is a human resource department, because you are the one that thrives the business. You are the one that moves the corporation. You are nothing but a cell in a big battery, okay? That's why when you go against their codes, what they do, they give you a charge and they put you in a cell. So you have to realize what's going on. The information is right around you. The truth is right around you, but because you're so distracted, they give you so many things to distract you, you are not able to see the truth. Okay? And that's why in some literature, you hear teachings such as those who have eyes, let them see, and ears, let them hear. But of course, we all have physical eyes and we all have physical ears. But the thing is, you have to hear beyond, okay, the physical manifestation. You have to know what it truly means. So once again, hence the topic, the curse of the pale man, to be in the black or be black is death. And we're going to expand on that. So let us proceed. Let's follow the trail and step back. Now I'm reading from the lecture, okay? Let's follow the trail and step back into his story / history. Now, is there a coincidence that our past, okay, our ancestry, our lineage, do you think it's a coincidence that it is coined his story? Brothers and sisters, there's no coincidence. Everything that's done by the colonizers and in their system, it is strategically done. It was done intentionally. It was done with a purpose. So what we are learning about ourselves, or what we have learned about ourselves, is nothing but his story. And what you have to realize is that his story is a misrepresentation of our story. So now what we have to do now, we have to take away the his from story and replace it with our story for it to make sense, because our story is not his story. The truth of the matter is we don't know his story because they don't teach their story. And that is what exactly his story is. His story is their story. But we have been led to believe that his story is our story or everybody's story. And I could prove that to you. Why do you think there is no such thing as a White History Month? Why isn't there such a thing as White History? Because once again, he doesn't want to tell his story. Okay, so in order for you not to focus on his story, he got to tell you your story, but fabricate your story and tell you the lies. So today, we're going to put an end to all this. We're going to clarify some things. We're going to put some things into perspective. That's what we're going to do. And once again, this is public information. I am not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to give you advice. None of that. I'm just here to give you some information that's already out there in the public, and I'm making you aware of the information. All right. If you go to Hosea, I think it's Hosea 4:6. I'm not certain, but in Hosea, it says, the people perish for the lack of knowledge. And if you look around us today, that's what's happening. Our people perish for the lack of knowledge. And that's a fact. Okay? Now, the American Aborigine misnomer, Africa, African American, that's supposed to be African American. African American, 1988. Black, 1980. Afro American, 1970. Black, 1965. Colored, 1950. Negro, 1832 up to the 1900s. And slave in 1600. Indian in 1492. So what we're going to do, instead of going back into his story or our story, what we're going to do is we're going to start from the present. The present right now. There is nothing like the now. There is nothing like the present. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the present right now and we're going to take a step back into his story, and we're going to disseminate the lies. We're going to break these things down and show you the flawed in his story, so that we could put our story in perspective. So we have been called, or we call ourselves today, African American. African American. And of course, for those of you who don't know, a lot of people think that the term African American only came about in 1988 from Jesse Jackson. Well, let's go to the etymology, okay, of the term African American, and you'll realize that it's been attested since 1969. So that term has been around. It was only brought back in 1988 by Jesse Jackson, and I believe there's a reason for that. So let's go. African American is an adjective. Online etymology. There are isolated instances from the late 18th and early 19th century, but the modern use is a reinvention. You hear that? It's a reinvention. First attested in 1969 in reference to the African American Teachers Association, which became the preferred term in some circles for U.S. Black. And as you can see, they have U.S. Black in parentheses. Okay, it's a noun or adjective by the late 1980s. Now let us step back for a second. Let us digress here for a second. When I tell folks, you know, when we read, we have to read with understanding. Let us not read to finish, but let us read to get started. So we're just getting started. Let's go back here for a second. There are isolated instances from the late 18th and 19th centuries, but the modern use is a reinvention. Once again, it didn't just pop up in 1988. It's a reinvention. First attested in 1969, reference to the African American Teachers Association. Well, guess who was a member of the American Teachers Association? You guessed it right, Jesse Jackson. Okay, so that term has been on the books for a very long time, which became the preferred term. It's not that we are African Americans, it just became a preferred term. Now let me ask you a question. Was that your preference? Was that the preference of your grandmother? Was that the preference of your father? Was that the preference of your brother, your aunt, your sisters, your friends? Was it the preference of your community? By all means, it wasn't. You see, that was something that was given to us. And because we don't hold the people that's in office, our public servants, because we don't hold them accountable and liable, and we don't have no say in the decisions that they make that affect our lives, guess what? We just accept what they give us. And there lies the problems. You see, it was a preferred term in some circles for U.S. Black, quote and unquote, U.S. Black. Noun or adjective by the late 1980s. Now it says see African plus American. Metkin 1921 reports American is now very commonly used in the Negro press. Afro-American attested in 1853 in Freeman's publication in Canada. Afro-American 1817 as a noun, 1826 as an adjective, was common in the abolitionist and colonization society writings. Now, this is just my belief. I believe the term African American was a distraction by Jesse Jackson in order to keep us, the so-called American Indians, from noticing or being aware of House Resolution 331, because that was a resolution that was passed through Congress in 1988. You see, because they have to tell you the truth. They have to give you the information. But in the midst of giving you the information, what they do is they put distractions in your way so that you don't see the real, so that you don't see the truth. And if you go back and look at the Matrix, that's what the Matrix is all about. It is telling you that you are in a fabricated world. You are living in an illusion, and everything about you, around you, is a distraction. It's not real. So you don't get to focus on what's real. So we're going to take a look at House Resolution 331. House Resolution 331. But before we move forward, let us just go back and look at some of the names again. African American, Black, and then we're going to go over Black. But Afro American, in the 1970s, they called us Afro Americans. Now, for me, I could go with that, because guess what? I'm an American and I could have an Afro. You see, that was more of a precise term, because now they were telling you that you are an American. You are just an American with an Afro. You feel me? So you see how they keep changing the identity of the American Aborigine. You see how they keep changing the identity. And it begs the question as to how is that every other ethnic group, when you look at them, who they are, their identity, their ethnicity, their nationality has always been the same. An Italian has always been an Italian. Okay? Someone from Scotland has always been Scottish. Someone from Portugal has always been Portuguese. Even though they call us Africans, even Africans, they themselves have nationalities, i.e. Nigerian, Ghanaian, okay, Ethiopian, and the list go on and on. The point I'm trying to make is those nationalities have always been the same. But why is that when it comes to the so-called black people in America, particularly the mainland called the United States? Why do their identities keep changing over and over and over and over again? And you see, people don't ask themselves, well, why is that? Why is it today I could be one thing and 5, 6, 10, 17, 20 years later, I'm something different? And people just go along with it like sheep. And brothers and sisters, we got to stop being sheep. Because sheep is always led to a slaughterhouse. And our people are being slaughtered. If you don't believe me, go look in the jails right now. On any average day, you could go into any courts and see the business that's being conducted. And guess who the patrons are? They are us. Okay? They are us. We are the ones that keep this machine running. So I don't mind the term Afro-American, but of course they had to change it. They had to change it because anything that gives you awareness, as you could see in the 70s, man, we had our Afros and we was vibrant, we had soul, but they had to take all that away. They had to take all that away. All right? Now let's look at House Resolution 331. Now, House Resolution 331 was passed in 1988. And of course, like I said, they put Jesse Jackson on the scene to distract us from that because they didn't want us to know that, for one, we are the real Indians. And number two, they didn't want us to know that they have to deal with the Indians from a government to government basis. Now, I'm saying all that to say, not because they honor these things, because our ancestors signed over 370 something treaties. I personally think it's more treaties with the colonizers. And when I speak of colonizers, I'm not just talking about Caucasian people. I'm not talking about just the pale man. It may surprise you that the colonizers, initially, they looked just like you and I. They were the ones who betrayed us. Because when they came, we saw them as brothers. And they brought the pale man to our land. And we'll get into that a little further as we proceed. But House Resolution 331, I want to bring that up so that you will be aware of it. And you see, we have to hold these people, Congress, we have to hold them liable. We have to hold them accountable because that is a treaty. It's a covenant. It's an agreement. And the mere fact that they are not sticking to their end of the bargain, they are in dishonor. But because enough people are not stepping up and holding them, again, liable, not accountable, but liable. Account is a jocular. And what do joculars do? They suck your blood. They are vampires. So they are already being accountable. But we have to hold them liable. There's a big difference. It's all in the words that we use. Okay? So House Resolution 331, 100th Congress, second session, H.con.res.331. The acronym is, or the definition or the meaning, so to speak, is, for the abbreviation, is House of Congress Resolution 331. Now, in the Senate of the United States, October 5th, Legislative Day, September 26, 1988, received and referred to the Select Committee on Indian Affairs, October 21st, Legislative Day, October 18th, 1988, committee discharge. Now, some people may say at this point, well, Chief, they're talking about Indians. I don't think you're an Indian. I don't think we are Indians. Well, guess what? I'm gonna show you today and prove to you who the Indians are, if you already didn't know, because some people are still in denial. And like I always say, the Nile is a river that runs from the Americas into Africa. And if you can't swim, I suggest you get out of the Nile and you step into reality, step back on the land, stop being in denial. Okay? Concurrent resolution. Concurrent means ongoing. Okay? To acknowledge the contribution of the Iroquois Confederacy of Nations to the development of the United States Constitution and to reaffirm the continuing government-to-government relationship between Indian tribes and the United States established in the Constitution. Now, that first paragraph rings volume. Why does it ring volume? Because it is literally telling you that the Iroquois Confederacy, which is a band, a confederacy of many Indian tribes and nations that came together, right? And they helped develop the Constitution of and for the United States. And the goal was to deal with the Indian tribes and nations from a government to government basis. In other words, self-governance. All right? Self-governance, that's what it means. We are the only race that's mentioned in the Constitution. The Indians. If you don't believe me, go look it up. Once again, I want you to trust in the information. You ain't got to trust me. I don't care about that. But trust in the information by doing your own research. Do your own due diligence. Because this is about your life. This is about the life of our children. This is about the life of our elders. And enough is enough. How far are you going to allow a system that's in dishonor to continue to oppress us as the original people of this land? I'm playing my part. What about you? Okay? Now, whereas the original framers of the Constitution, including most notably George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, are known to have greatly admired the concepts of the Six Nations of the Iroquois Confederacy. Whereas the Confederation of the original 13 colonies into one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederation, as were many of the democratic principles which were incorporated into the Constitution itself. Now, brothers and sisters, you have to pay attention when you're reading. So far, what are they saying? They're saying a couple of things. For one, our ancestors were the ones who created the Constitution, and they adapted, okay, they modeled the current Constitution from the original Constitution that was already in place, and our ancestors put that in place. Number two, they have an obligation to deal with us from a government to government basis. Okay, from a government to government basis. What else is it telling you? It is also telling you that the whole narrative of us being slaves is a lie, because how can we be slaves when we already have governments in place? Ask yourself that question. How can we be slaves when we have massive civilization in place? To me, that's impossible. That's impossible. So you see, the truth is in the documents, in black and white. Let's proceed. And whereas, since the formation of the United States, the Congress has recognized the sovereign status of Indian tribes and has, through the exercise of powers reserved to the federal government in the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, dealt with the Indian tribes on a government-to-government basis, and has, through the Treaty Clause, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2, entered into 370 treaties with Indian tribal nations. Well, of course, the United States hasn't honored any of those treaties. And once again, may I reiterate, we are the only race that's mentioned in the Constitution. The only race that's mentioned in the Constitution. Okay? Whereas, from the first treaty entered into with an Indian nation the treaty with the Delaware Indians of September 17, 1778. The Congress has assumed a trust responsibility and an obligation to Indian tribes and their members. Okay? They have a responsibility. They have an obligation. It didn't say, well, if they feel like, no, it's an obligation. Why aren't we holding them to that obligation? Because you see, too many people are running around being black, African American, being niggers, being everything else except who we are. Now, we could get into the semantics and the wordplay of, well, we were not Indians, they just called us Indians. Man, listen, they called us everything. But I am, first off, let me just make this straight. Let me just get something clear real quick. I am a man, firsthand. I am a man. That is the highest authority. Okay, I'm a man. So I'm just going to state that. But in terms of identifying myself as a label, if I so choose, I would rather go with American Indian. Okay? But however, my rights, okay, my rights is not limited to being an American Indian, because my rights are given to me by the Creator. Okay? And I cannot put any limit on the rights that I have as a man. As long as I'm not harming anybody, as long as I'm not damaging anybody's property, I have a right to do what the hell I want. And that's a fact. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. Okay, now it says, whereas this trust responsibility, again, responsibility, and it's a trust, and they have breached that trust. So we have to step up to them and make sure that they're held liable. Whereas this trust responsibility calls for Congress to exercise the utmost good faith in dealing with Indians. Okay? They have to exercise the utmost good faith in dealing with us. Anything other than that is considered bad faith. And that's what they're doing right now. They are exercising bad faith because we are not holding them liable, as provided for in the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, First Stat 50. Go check it out yourself. All right? Whereas the judicial system of the United States has constantly recognized and reaffirmed this special relationship. Now, therefore, be it. You see, that those two little words right there, be it, is very significant. That meaning that, you know what, it is now stamped in gold. Be it. Number one, resolved by the House of Representatives, the Senate concurring that, one, Congress, on the occasion of the 200th anniversary of signing of the United States Constitution, acknowledges the contribution made by the Iroquois Confederacy and other Indian nations to the formation and development of the United States. Okay? Now, a lot of us may say, well, why did our ancestors had to help them create the United States? Well, brothers and sisters, you see, it's a little more complicated than you think it is. Okay? So I'm not sure if I should get into the complication of things, but I'm just gonna see if I could just paraphrase real quick and just give you a summary as to what transpired. Okay? We were here on our land. We already had governments. All right? We had a high civilization. Now, when it came to the pale men were not aware of the American Indians. However, we had people with our complexion, Africans, and people who call themselves Moors. They knew who we were. Okay, they knew who we were. So we were already doing commerce with them. However, the Moors ruled Europe, or a certain part of Europe, for about 711 to almost 811 years. And when they lost their reign, okay, when they were overthrown or taken off that throne, some of them went back into Africa, and a lot of them came into the Americas. Okay, they already had knowledge. They already knew about governments. They already knew about weaponry. So they came into the Americas. when they came into the Americas, we welcomed them as brothers. So we created businesses with them, commerce. We got into treaties with them. But because these Moors, they already had in their nature, they are about taking over. I want it all to myself. What they did was they started fighting us for what's ours and started enslaving our people. But because our people was fighting back, what they did was they went back into Europe and they made a deal with the pale man who overtook them, okay? Who took them out of power and said, man, listen, we could go into this newfound land called the so-called New World and take over these Negroes, okay? And we will work a deal with y'all. So the deal was they went over there, got assistance, and came back to fight us, all right? They still couldn't beat us. So what they did was they started trading some of our people and shipping them across the seas as slaves. But once again, because we were so fierce, we fought. Then what they had to do was we came into some agreement. All right, check this out. You guys are here. We got into some business. You know, you betrayed us, but we got to work it out. Because a lot of our ancestors had slaves. That's the truth. American Indians, we own slaves. So we got into commerce with them by doing what? By enslaving the pale man. So they went to get what's called white cargo. Okay? So white cargo was the first slaves that were brought here on ships. So when they talk about the transatlantic slave trade, about us being slaves and all that, that's a lie. That's a lie. The first slaves were called white cargo. The Caucasian man, the pale man, was the first slaves that came into the Americas. And when the pale man or white cargo, because they couldn't stand the brutal heat of the sun, the work was too much for them, they were dying out. Then what happens? Those Moors decided, okay, you know what? Again, they spoke to their American Indian brothers and said, man, listen, why don't we go to Africa? Let's go to Guinea. Let's go to different parts of Africa. We could get some of our brothers and enslave them. Or we could trick them into coming here, you know, on servitude, promise them, you know, a better life, and then trick them and enslave them. So that was the deal. That's what happened. Okay, the summary of what happened. So they started bringing some Africans into our mix. And that's where the whole melee happened. So I'm just giving you a summary as to what transpired. But we were not slaves. We already have governments. We were already here. And I'm going to prove that to you again in detail as we go along. All right? Now, it says, so just so you know, the Indian relationship with the United States, they said it's been the cornerstone of this nation's official Indian policy. So that's on record. They have to deal with us. They have an obligation to deal with us from a government to government basis. Okay? Number 3, the Congress specifically acknowledges and reaffirms the trust, responsibility, and obligation of the United States government to Indian tribes. Once again, here goes those terms. Congress specifically, all right, acknowledges, they acknowledge that. In other words, yes, we know, we are cognizant of the treaty or the deal or the covenant that we made with the Indian tribes. And not just knowing, but they reaffirmed it. So it wasn't just affirmed, it was reaffirmed that there is a trust responsibility. Trust is a very key word. They have broken that trust. So therefore we could hold them liable for breaking that trust. And it's a responsibility, and not just a responsibility, or if I feel like I could do it. No, it's an obligation. It's an obligation which deals with morality. But of course, there's no moral in this Babylonian system of the United States government to Indian tribes, including Alaska Natives, for their preservations, protection, and enhancements, including the provision of health, education, social, and economic assistance programs as necessary, and including the duty to assist. It's a duty to assist tribes in their performance of governmental responsibility to provide for the social and economic well-being of their members and to preserve tribal cultural identity and heritage. You see, that is key. They are supposed to provide us with governmental assistance. That was part of the contract. That was part of the covenant. Help us with healthcare, education, or with social and economic programs. But what they had to do was to take that away from us. You see, that was already in place. All right? And it was already a contract that had to be manifested. So the best way to make sure that we didn't reap, I'm talking about the original people, the best way to make sure that we didn't reap the benefit of said contracts, what they had to do, they had to get some other people, which is what you call the natives, and put them in our place. In other words, the promise was still fulfilled, but the promise was given, or the birthright was given to somebody else. The natives came and stole our birthright. Because the natives are not the Aborigines. They are natives, yes. They are Native Americans, but they are not American Indians, and they are not American Aborigines, because they were not the original people that were called American Indians. And well, chief, that sounds kind of crazy. How could you say that? Well, once again, I could prove that when Obama came out and Obama said, well, you know what? We're going to take away American Indian and we're going to use Native American instead. You know why? Because it is politically incorrect for natives to call themselves American Indians, because they are not the original people that were called American Indians. So once again, you see the game that's being played with the so-called black man and so-called black woman on this American continent. It is to continue to displace us, miseducate us, continue to keep our birthright away from us. And that's what's happening. So they put these natives were not here before 1492. They came very recently in the late 1700s, early 1800s. That was the inception of the natives. And I have proof of that. They're not the original people. And no matter what you say, they will say, oh, well, we are natives. Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. You are natives. Oh, well, y'all are not natives. Well, we don't want to be natives. At least I don't want to be. Not in the true context of what it is. I don't want to be that. I'm an American Aborigine. In fact, I'm just an Aborigine, period, an original man to the planet. But if we were to talk about specific geographical, locations, then I consider myself the man, first man, then an American Aborigine, aka an American Indian. So you see, it's politically incorrect for natives to call themselves Indians, because they are not the Indians. But yet still they were put in place to usurp our rights, our birthright. And that's what's happening, because the government has an obligation, and there is certain monies, okay, and privileges that's put aside for American Indians. So you see, they have to fulfill that promise for them to remain in honor. So the next best thing that they thought of, well, let's get some other people and change this American Indians from American Indians to Negro and colored and niggers, and then put these Siberians and these Russians in their place and call them the natives and tell the world that they are the American Indians. So brothers and sisters, in short, that's what's happening here. Okay? So just so y'all know, let us proceed. Number 4, the Congress also acknowledges the need to exercise the utmost good faith in upholding its treaties with the various tribes. You see, it says good faith and upholding. They are not in good faith. They haven't done that. So it is up to us to make sure that, again, we hold them liable. And they have to compensate us for breaching those contracts, those covenants, those agreements, as the tribes understood them to be. All right? It said, as the tribes understood them to be. So you see, that's very important, because they cannot tell us what it means. We have to tell them, well, this is what we get from it. This is our perception. This is our belief. This is our custom. So therefore, we have total control, and the duty of a great nation to uphold its legal, Okay, it's a legal and moral obligation for the benefit of all its citizens, so that they and their posterity means, you know, the future, may also continue to enjoy the rights they have enshrined in the United States Constitution from time immemorial. That means forever, without end. Passed the House of Representatives, October 4th, 1988, attest, Donald K. Anderson, he was the clerk at that time. So brothers and sisters, as you could see, the House resolution is a very powerful tool. And we have to make sure that they honor that. They don't always honor it. That is because not enough of us is actually stepping up. All right? Not a lot of us is actually stepping up. You feel me? So here we go. We're going to continue. Now, here is where I have to take a sip from my tea. Because you see, our people are lost. And my goal is to make sure that your eyes are open. My goal is to make sure that your ears are open and you could see and you could hear. And by calling yourself black, it's a curse. It's a curse of the pale man. And I'm going to break that down for you today. And my goal and my wish is today, after this lecture, something will spark in you. The ancestors will speak to you, speak through you, and open up your eyes and open up your ears and, you know, look into your soul and look into your spirit and realize that you are living a lie and you have to let go of the illusion. That is my wish for you today after this lecture. So let's get into the word black. Now, we have to go look at the etymology of words. What is the etymology of words? Huh? What is the etymology of words? The etymology of a word is the origin. You see, there is a definition and there is a meaning. What they do is they have given us meanings of words. Meanings. No, my bad. Let me digress here for a second. They have given us definitions of words, but they never told us the meaning, because you see, what they call meaning, they call it a meaning, a definition, but no, a definition is based on perception. A meaning is the true intent of the word, the energy that it was meant to carry when it was first created. So let us go look at the word black. Originally, what black was and what black is. Okay? Black. And brothers and sisters, I can't see what I can't see what you're posting in the chat. So if I'm not ignoring your questions, I'm literally just seeing the big screen right now, and I can't see anything on the chat. So, you know, my apologies. All right. Let us just focus right now on the lesson. And when I'm done, we could go through a few questions. But I really want you guys to get this. So hold your questions till the end of the lecture, if you may. I would very much appreciate that, because I can't look at you know, at the chat right now. Okay. Now, black. Etymology, original meaning, Old English, black, absolutely dark, absorbing all light, the color of soot or coal, from Proto-Germanic, black as, burnt. All right, so this is the adjective, okay, describing to burn, gleam, to shine. All right, flash, burn. The same root produced English, black, bright, shining, glittering, pale. So brothers and sisters, you see the true definition, not definition, but the true meaning of the word black means pale. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Are you pale? Now, if you are, I don't know. Maybe you know something I don't know, but I don't look pale. So you see, that is the curse of the pale man, because the real black people are the people that you call white and Caucasians. Because you see, black and white has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It is a status. It is an energy that the word carry. And therefore, black, they are the black people, not us. Because it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. So black actually means pale. You feel me? And if we read, it says, there is nothing more variable than the significance of words designating color. The useful Old English word for black was what? Swat. Now, I'm taking you back further. Even before the word black was created, black came from another word. The usual Old English word for black was what? Swat. According to OED, in me, it's often doubtful whether black, Blake, means black, dark or pale, colorless, one livid. Used of dark-skinned people in Old English. Now let us go look at the definition, the meaning of swat. So we are going further back. I showed you exactly what the original meaning of the word black was. It means pale, but it actually came from an Old English word, swat, S-W-A-R-T, swat, S-W-A-R-T, swat, an adjective. Old English, swat, black, dark, of night clouds, also figurative, wicked, infamous. Okay, wicked and infamous, from Proto-Germanic, source of also Old English, Old Saxon, and Middle Dutch swat, Dutch swat, Old Noose, swatter, German swaz, Gothic swats, dark-colored, black, from pi root, swado, means dirty, dark, black. Also, the source of that word is sordid. So here we go. We are going back, and I'm showing you the original meaning of the word black and the root of what it came from. So black means pale, and the word black came from the word swat, and swat came from the word sordid. That is the source of the word, sordid. So let us look at the meaning, not definition, but the meaning of the word sordid. Early 15th century, festering, from Latin sordidus, dirty, filthy, foul, vile, mean, base. Okay, that is what black essentially meant. So you see the energy of the word that's being carried, and that was the nature of the pale man, brothers and sisters. The nature of the pale man was dirty, filthy, foul, and vile. Because even when they came into the Americas, they didn't shower, they didn't bathe. Even when they were in Europe, the Moors had to teach them how to bathe, how to brush their teeth. That is their nature. And once again, I am not here talking about race and hating people. This has nothing to do with that. I am teaching you the true history. This is general information. Okay? It is general information, and I'm teaching you why you should not call yourself black, because you are not black. It is a curse to call yourself black. It's a curse. It is the energy of the word, and it's being promoted by mainstream media. It's being promoted by the people that the so-called powers there be. It is being promoted. Why? Because it's an energy that makes you dead. And you wonder, why aren't our people advancing? You wonder, why aren't our people waking up? You wonder why our people are not becoming the superpower that we were. It is because you have accepted the curse of the pale man by calling yourself black. Because the original meaning of the word black means pale. And then black came from the word swat. And then swat came from the word sordid, which means dirty, filthy, foul, vile. Now I'm going to ask you a question today. After you know all this, and you have researched this, and you have studied this, and you have searched, are you going to call yourself black today? Moving forward, are you going to continue to live with that curse? It's a spell. My brothers and sisters, give these people back their spell. Give them back their curse. And to make matters worse, now we are celebrating this so-called Black History Month. What the hell is Black History Month? Again, that is a spell. It's a ritual. It is a ritual. Because for one, they have already fooled you and make you think that January 31st, January 1st, December 31st, going into January 1st, they already fooled you and make you think that's the new year. That's not the new year. The new year don't start until springtime in March, when the earth is being vibrant again, new growth. That is the real new year, which starts around March 21st. So what are they doing? They are giving you a month called so-called Black History Month. February, of course, February or Fabioros or whatever the name of that Greek god is, it's a ritual. So now you are celebrating that god of the Romans, the Greeks. And not just that, you are celebrating your own death by calling yourself Black. So now you have 28 days of that spell. By taking that curse and just giving it to your people. And then they're using that energy to go into a new, what's called a new growth, which is a new year in March. So my brothers and sisters, again, I am showing you the detriments of calling yourself Black. Okay, let it go. Let it go. What is so hard is only grown people going around calling themselves a color. I don't hear Chinese talking about yellow lives matter. I don't even hear Caucasians talking about white lives matter. Why do so-called Black people have to go around screaming that when you are not Black? I mean, if you were to be a color, I would say brown. I would say copper. I would say cinnamon, but not Black. But it's because we had to be taught that, okay? That had to be inbred in us, that curse for our downfall. And it's all voluntary. Nobody's forcing you to call yourself Black. Nobody's forcing you to. That's your choice, okay? That's your choice. So here we go. Now that you have seen it with your own eyes, don't believe me. Go do your own research. Go look at the etymology of the word Black. You will see that it means pale. And who are the pale people? The pale people are the Caucasians. They are the real Black people, not us. They are, okay? They are the real Black people. You see, they taught you everything in reverse. The same way they told you life began in Africa. That's a lie. So the word Black means pale, and the word Black came from the word swat. And the word swat came from the word sordid, which means dirty, filthy, foul, and vile. So if that's what you want to be moving forward, that's on you. Good luck with that. Because once again, people perish for the lack of knowledge. Now, there is a term, a legal term, Celibataire Matus, which is Black's Law. Got the definition from Black's Law Dictionary. It's free online, legal dictionary, 2nd edition. Civilly dead, dead in the view of the law. The condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities and is accounted dead in law. So therefore, when you call yourself Black, you are actually dead in law. So now you see why the prison is filled with so-called Black people. Because they don't exist. Brothers and sisters, you don't exist. The police could pull you over anytime on the streets and do what they want. I'm not saying it's right. I am not saying it's moral. But because you don't exist, because you call yourself Black, because you are in a status of Celibataire Matus, you have no rights. You are dead in law. How much more clearer can I make this for y'all? Huh? How much more clearer can I make this for you? I'm just taking another sip of my tea. Because you see, it's imperative that you get this information today. It's very important that you get this information today. Now, a lot of you may not like the information. That's okay. I'm not here for the likes. You may dislike the video. Man, I'm not here for that either. Because I know there are people who are out there that were put in place to continuously calling my people Black. So my brothers and sisters, I'm not going to call any names. I'm not going to call any names. But anybody who calls you Black and African American and nigger, they're not your friends. They're not for you. And anybody who's on YouTube and they have they have this large platform and they have this large subscriptions and they're calling you Black and African American, they are working for the system. They are agents. I'm going to repeat myself. Because you see, those are the people you like to be subscribed to. Those are the people that you want to give your support. The same people who are helping your demise, because they are working for the system, because they know the truth. Okay? Some of them call themselves doctors. Some of them call themselves master teachers, but they're calling you black. How could you be a master teacher? How could you be a scholar? How could you be a doctor and not know that when you call yourself black, you are dead in law? But again, it's just my opinion. I believe they know the truth, but they are being paid to fool the people. You see, they have sold their people out. They have taken the bag. So may I reiterate, anyone who's on YouTube or on social media calling you black, or calling our people black or African American, they are agents. And go look at the movie Matrix, because they have duplicated themselves many different times in different vessels, but with the same principle, with the same goal to keep you dead in law. Okay? So everybody who looks like you is not your friend. And that's why I tell people it has nothing to do with color. You see, I don't get involved with the color and talk about, well, the pale man and the Caucasian man. And no, this ain't got nothing to do with the Caucasian man. This is about you, because nobody's forcing you to call yourself black. Nobody's forcing you to call yourself African American. Nobody's putting you in front of YouTube and sit down and listen to these people for a lecture for 3 hours telling you lies, because they are paid by the system. Okay? Why aren't you calling them out? But yet still, they are the people that you support. But they are paying you. They are paying for your demise. Let us proceed. Okay? The true identity of the Indians, fact or fiction. And I'm going to prove to you again today that we are the people they call the Indians. Fact or fiction. Okay? By the end of the lecture, you will determine that, whether Chief Kalinago knows what he's talking about or not. Now let's go into American. The word or the term American in the Noah's Webster's 1828 dictionary. Now, when we look at the year 1828, supposedly slavery was at its peak. Now, if that is the case, if that is true, then why would they give a definition of American in Noah's Webster's 1828 dictionary to be such? It says American, adjective pertaining to America. We know America is a continent. We know that the United States is not America, but the United States is in America. Okay? And for the world, just so that the world will know, because they always talk about America, America, America. No, we don't have a problem with the world. The United States got a problem with the world. The United States is not America, and we ain't got nothing to do with that. You see, you don't understand. The United States is a private corporation, and all they're doing is business. Okay? The United States ain't got no beef with China. The United States ain't got no beef with Russia. The United States ain't got no beef with North Korea. They are all corporations. That's it. Fighting for political power. So just so you know, man, don't get caught up with the politics. All right? Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary. American, a noun, a native of America. Originally applied, it says originally. That's a key word. Originally applied to the what? The aboriginals, or the copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. But now the term is applied to the descendants of the Europeans born in America. Now, I'm not sure if you know exactly what this means. American, because there's a difference between an American and a United States citizen. Donald Trump is not an American. Okay? Donald Trump is a United States citizen. Okay? All the members of Congress, for the most part, who are not of this land, they are not Americans. They are United States citizens. So how in the hell that these people who are the real immigrants on our land get to call themselves Americans, and the true Americans want to walk around calling themselves niggers, African Americans, and black? But yet still you want to blame all your problems on the system. Well, I'm here to tell you today, take the responsibility, because nobody's forcing you to call yourself black or African American or even a nigger. Okay? And then what you do, you turn around and you subscribe to these celebrities, your celebs, your idols. I'm not trying to be nobody's idols, but I'm just saying, damn, if you were to have an idol, if you were to look up to somebody, at least look up to somebody who's going to teach you the truth and tell you the truth, and who has your full best interest at heart. Not people who pretend, not people going around calling you African American and black and telling you you're from Africa, or even telling you that you're Moors. These people don't have your best interest at heart. But you spend your time watching Power, basketball, NFL, all these television shows. Oh, we love our fans, and all this music that's telling you how to kill our people and call our women bitches and hoes. That's what y'all people subscribe to. That's what you gravitate to. Those are the people you idolize, when you shouldn't be idolizing anybody in the first place. But I'm just saying, if you were to idolize anybody, why not somebody who tells you the truth? Because you see, these people were put in place to sell you the illusion. BET, Black Entertainment Network or television. What is that? Because they want to give you something to be proud. You know what? Be proud to be black. Meaning that be proud to be dirty. Be proud to be filthy. Be proud to be vile. Be proud to have that curse hovering over your head. Take it, own it. Because you have taken the curse of the pale man. Give them back their curse. Okay? It is theirs. It is not ours. I'm not black. I don't know about you. Okay? So I'm going to read that again before I proceed. American, a noun, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of the Europeans born in America. So they're telling you right there, they traded places with you. They took your place, but you are too blind to see that because they get to call themselves Americans. You see them, hey, where you from? I'm American. No, you're not. You're a United States citizen. Okay, you're a corporate entity. I'm an American because this is the land of my ancestors, blood pedigree. This is mine. I'm a natural heir to this land. So now you have immigrants calling other immigrants in our own land. And the people they're calling immigrants, 10 to 1, they may be from Mexico, Canada, the Caribbean. They are also Americans. But you have the real immigrants calling other Aborigines immigrants. But once again, people perish for the lack of knowledge. And it says, the name American must have always exalted the pride of patriotism. Of course, because you're dealing with the patriots, right? Again, another spell. You guys are living in a whole, man, in a ritual, and you don't realize that. Now let us look at the color copper so that we don't get it confused. All right? So that we don't get it confused. Copper. Look at the color of copper. So when they say that, American, that term was applied to the original people of the copper-colored races found in America. That's the complexion of those people right there. Copper. All right? Now, I put on the left side a bunch of copper, and then I put on the right side also copper, but pennies. And as you can see, pennies change in variations of color from a light brown to a darker brown. So people are going around because you're of a darker hue calling yourself black. No, you are not black. Because you see, black is not what we are or who we are, or not even our complexion. You are a darker brown. Okay? That's what it is. But I'm just saying, I'm not saying all that to say to go around calling yourself a color. That's not what I'm saying. But all I'm just saying, if you were to identify or describe your color or your complexion, it shouldn't be black. It should be copper or brown or cinnamon. All right? Now, so So there is no misunderstanding as to what copper looks like. Cinnamon or Indian red. So when they mention red man / Indians, do not be deceived by the wordplay, because they always talk about the red man. Well, let's go look at cinnamon, because when you read a lot of books on prehistoric America, you will see that they use terms such as copper, cinnamon, describing the tone of the people, the skin tone of the people. Well, here we go. This is what cinnamon looks like. That don't look like a Native American complexion to me. All right? And just for the record, back in the day in school, they used to have Crayola Indian crayons. All right? And they had a specific one that was called Indian red. Now, if you look on the right side of the screen, well, at least my right, I don't know if it should be your right as well, but anyway, where the crayons are, you would see that there's one crayon that's called Indian red. Look at the complexion of Indian red. It is not because it's red. No, it is a dark brown. Okay, it is a dark brown. So brothers and sisters, don't get caught with the semantics or the wordplay. Okay, and then the one that more looks like the natives is called pitch and flesh. Okay, so why isn't the one that's called flesh or pitch called Indian? Brothers and sisters, why do you think they had to take that out of circulation in school? Huh? Because they didn't want you to know. Children would start asking questions. All right? Children will start asking questions. Thank you for that donation, Michael George. I appreciate that, brother. Okay? Children would start asking questions. Well, teacher, Miss So-and-so, why they say the Indians look like the peach, and they say the Indians look like the color with the flesh, but yet still this one said Indian red, but it looks more like me. So what they had to do, they had to take those Crayola Indian crayons out of circulations and don't put them in the schools no more. Brothers and sisters, you guys better wake up and realize what's going on. So once again, I am showing you what Indian red looks like. It is not red, it is a darkish brown with a red undertone, a coppery undertone. And when I look through my skin, I can see that I'm a real copper, call it Indian. The people that they met in the Americas when they came. So I know who I am. I don't know about you. And if I say that's who I am, then that's who I am. And nobody could take that away from me. All right? Now, let's look into some facts as to who the original people were and are of the Americas. Because a lot of times people say, well, Chief, man, you know what? All this sounds well and good, but can you give me some more facts? All right, so here we go. This is what this is about today. Once again, I am not here to prove who you are or disprove who you are. I'm here to show you the facts, and you make the determination as to who you are, because no one could do that for you. All right, so we're going to look at an article, March 2nd, 2018, when natives were, that is from the History Channel. So we're going to go to that link. Okay, we're going to go to the History Channel link. Here we are. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I'm just going to show you real quick. Because you know what? A lot of people are doubting Thomas. It doesn't matter what you show them. All right? Thanks for that donation. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support. All right? A lot of people are still in denial. And like I tell my people, if you don't know how to swim, get out of the Nile, because the Nile is a river. You might drown. So step back into reality. Now let's go to the History Channel. Whether you want to believe it or not, they are showing some facts here. Okay? They're showing some facts. And a lot of times their stories are distorted. So why would they tell that story on the History Channel? But of course, maybe Chief Kalanago is just talking. It shows this day in history, scheduled topics and stories. We're not going to read the entire thing because I've gone through this in detail before, but I just felt it was pertinent to, the subject matter today. When Native Americans were slaughtered in the name of civilization, and that's on the History Channel. And when you look in the link below, you will see that I gifted you the lesson plan, and I made all the links clickable, so you are able to do your own studies and your own research to verify whether Chief Kalinago is telling you the facts or not. Now check this out. I just want to read this part right here and stop. It says, their skin was what? I don't know if you guys could read this, but I'm not going to say it. I would like for you guys to type what you see on the screen. Their skin was what? I'll wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Okay? Channel. Anybody tell me? Type it in. That's right. Their skin was dark. Okay? Their skin was dark. You hear me? Let us go back to the top. When Native Americans were slaughtered in the civilization, their skin was dark. Their language, but their languages, meaning that plural, were world views and spiritual. It didn't say religious, but spiritual beliefs were beyond white man's what? Comprehension. In other words, our systems, our worldviews, and our spirituality, it was so sophisticated that it was beyond their comprehension. So what they had to do, they had to tell you, oh man, your spiritual ways is pagan. Oh, give you Jesus. My people, wake the hell up. Well, I don't want you to wake hell up, but get out of hell. Because right now you're in hell. You're serving the God of the pale man. You're serving the God of the colonizers. But I'm just going to read this again. Their skin was dark. And it did say when Native Americans. So let me ask you a question. Who the hell are these people calling themselves natives, talking about that they the original people, when the History Channel is telling you that what? Their skin was dark. Huh? So once again, I'm going to ask these natives. I'm going to ask these natives again. Prove to me that you are the original people. Because all the facts are stacked up against y'all. And your time is running out. Because my ancestors have returned. Okay? They are shining through me and many others like me. All right? Their skin was dark. Yes, they took our languages. Because when you lose your language, you lose your what? You lose the word. And when you lose the word, you lose your God. And I'm using that word God very lightly. Because in their book, it says what? In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word became God. So therefore, when you lost your languages, you lost your word, and therefore you lost your God. You lost your spirituality, and they gave you religion. You got converted. If you have a car, a brand new BMW, okay, and you take it to a shop, and then you cut it off, you cut off the roof, and then you make it a convertible, it is not the same car. Okay? It is converted. That's what happened to our people. That's one of the reasons why we are suffering today. Because we lost our languages. What is a language? Have words without the language. So if the words is the language, and in the beginning was the word, and the word was God, then you lost your God, you lost your spirituality. Now you're colonizers. And the only time for our people to wake up is to give them back their religion. Guys, all right? That old time religion. We need to go back to our old time religion. Our people sing it every day in church, but they continue to hold on to that same BS religion that the colonizers gave us. Let us time religion. All right? That's good enough for me, the one of my ancestors before the colonizers came to our lands. That's what I want back. That old time religion. All right? Now, I'm just going to read a little bit, not a whole lot, but I'm just going to read it to show you the complexion again, because they said that they were dark. On a cool May day in 1758, a 10-year-old girl with and Frex was caring for her neighbor's children in a rural western Pennsylvania. In a few moments, Mary Campbell's life changed forever when Delaware kidnapped her and absorbed her into their community. Next, brothers and sisters, that was in what? In 1758. Okay, so if in 1758 the Indians were still dark, and in Noah Webster's 1828 they were dark, what happened today? Huh? Or all of a sudden they just changed from dark or copper to what the natives call themselves, the real Indians? Come on, man. Y'all better wake up and smell what Chief is cooking today. I hope The Rock don't come after me for using his his little spear. Yeah. All right. But at the end of the day, on a cool May day in 1758, guess what? The Indians were still dark. They were still copper. All right. And yes, we were still called Indians. Became the first of some 200 known cases of white captives, many of whom became pawns in an ongoing power struggle that included European powers, American colonists, and indigenous peoples straining to maintain their population, their land, and way of life. Okay, because at that time, they had already adapted calling themselves, they colonized the Americans, but we were still the peoples. All right, look at the play on words. You feel me? While Mary was ultimately returned to her white family, and some evident points to her having lived happily with her adopted, stories such as her cautionary tale among white settlers, stoking fear of savage Indians and creating a paranoia that escalated into all-out Indian hating. So you see what they had to do. Even if that child, okay, was treated like she was part of the family, guess what? They went around the world talking about us as Indians and how vile we were and Indian hating. That's what these people did. They did. Now I'm going to show you a picture here real quick, because you see everything is here for you to see. Look at this. I'm going to show you a picture. Where's that picture at? Come on, man. I don't like it when they do this. Well, you know what? They have ads on their channel. I can't be mad at them. But here we go. Now look at the complexion of these Indians. Copper, dark. Okay? Copper, dark. Brothers and sisters. I stream the History Channel. They give you the facts, right? Now it says a group of Native Americans look at a sailing ship in the bay below them. So once again, I don't need to go any further because I just wanted to give you that bit of facts. Okay? Give you that bit of facts. So let's go back to the lecture here. Well, we are still on the lecture, but let's go back to the main page. So we already did the one from the History Channel. Okay? Let us proceed. We're going to get into this. I'm going to show y'all some facts today. All right? Okay? I'm going to show y'all some facts today. Now, it says, so once again, the History Channel in their article, they're telling you that, and that was in 1758. All right? The Indians were still dark. All right? The Indians were still dark. So when I'm telling you that the natives that call themselves Indian right now are fairly new, these people didn't come around until the early 1800s. Okay? I'm telling you, they just came in until the 1800s in droves, millions of them, to take our place. Okay? All right. Now, virtual Jamestown laws on slavery. November 1682, Act 1, an act to repeal a former law making Indians and others free. Now, brothers and sisters, this is going to amaze you. All right. And be it further enacted by the authority aforesaid that all servants except Turks, Moors, and Moors, whilst in enmity with his majesty, which from after publication of this act shall be brought or imported into this country, either by sea or land, whether Negroes, Moors, mulattoes, or Indians. Once again, for you Moors, you are not aborigines to the Americas. Okay? You could see a clear distinction when they say Moors and Indians. So stop playing the game with my people. It's bad enough that you already played a role in selling my people out. Okay? We trusted y'all when y'all came here. We saw y'all, same complexion. We treated you guys as brothers. We shared bread with you. We gave you land. And because you wanted to take what was ours, in other words, you were jealous of our sacrifice. Again, hence the allegory, Cain killed Abel. You are Cain and we are Abel. Okay? Because we always had favor in the eyes of the Great Spirit. So you came and you were jealous of our sacrifice. What's our sacrifice? Or what were you jealous of? You were jealous of the land that we had because we had plenty. Okay? We didn't have a need for anything. And you came. We opened up our arms and treated you like brothers. And what did you do? You turned around and fought us in our own land. Enslaved our people. That was the first slave trade. The American Indian slave trade. And you took my people and you brought them to England. You brought them to Africa. You brought them to Europe. All over the world as slaves, as an exhibit. And that wasn't enough. What did you do? You wanted to take over everything that we had in spite of all the treaties that we worked together. And because you couldn't beat us, you went and got your pale brothers to beat us. So anybody who called themselves a Moor, I don't trust them. And that's just me. Because if you know the true history of the Moors, they haven't apologized for what they did to my ancestors. You are not an American Aborigine. And this is not Morocco. Stop with the lies. Again, that is another way of getting my people to sell their birthright. You think, I know my ancestors already told me the truth. I don't care what you tell me. I know what you did to them. Okay? I know the truth. And I know that you are the ones that's still behind the oppression of my people because I know you are the true nobles of England and Europe. I know you are the true nobles and you have these pale faces as a facade, calling themselves the royal crown. They are not royal. You put them there to fool the world. Because you are the ones that's still running the slave system. But you don't want us to know. But Chief Kalinago know the truth. You think I don't know? I know. And a lot of these Moors know the truth. The real Moors will tell you the truth. The real Moors will tell you, Chief, you are absolutely right. Moors are not from America. And Moors were the ones who came here and enslaved your people and brought the pale man to your land. True Moors tell the truth. And that's the only way we're going to learn to get together. But until you call yourself a Moor, you keep forever calling yourself a Moor and saying you're an Aborigine, that's not going to work. We are not going to let history repeat itself. We're not going to let you sell us out again, and we're sure not going to let you take our land by trying to convert all our people into Moors. And they always tell you, oh, well, don't call yourself Indian. They gave you the name Indian. Well, guess what? They gave you the name Moors as well. Who's they? Y'all called us Indians. It wasn't the pale man. The pale man wasn't that educated. You see, y'all giving these pale people too much credit. You called us Indian. You Moors called us Indians because we were not you. Okay? And then you try to, call all of us Moors. But now we fought against that. We fought against being black. We fought against being Negro. We fought against being Moors. But we accepted the term Indians. All right? Needless to say, we had our own identity in all our various tribes. We identified ourselves by our tribes. Okay, the languages that we spoke, because we had many languages. So stop fooling my people. Stop playing the games with my people. Okay? If American Aborigines want you to convert them into Moors, that's on y'all. But I want y'all to know a Moor is nothing but a U.S. citizen with extra privileges, because they have a treaty with Morocco. But what they don't know is Morocco is a protectorate of France. France owns Morocco. So if y'all want to go around keep playing games and calling yourself Moors, and trust me, y'all gonna get caught up. Y'all gonna get caught up. All right? So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, and I'm not gonna apologize for telling the truth. I'm not gonna apologize for showing my passion for my people. I am tired of my people being lied to and being deceived. My people are not Moors. Okay? Y'all call us Indians, fine. But y'all trying to call us Moors now. We're gonna stick to Indians. We'll stick to that. Or I'm just gonna stick to Aborigine, period. All right? But by trying to convert us into Moors, what you're doing, because the Moors signed a contract with the United States, you are still trying to get us and put us back in the jurisdiction of the corporation. Y'all sold us out, and you continue to sell us out today. Why do you think when all the knowledge about law and Aborigines, all that stuff coming out, why do you think the Moors were the ones with the knowledge? Huh? Why do you think they were the first ones with the knowledge? You know why? Because they were part of the grand scheme. But the ancestors have to force them to tell the truth, because everything is written. It's prophecy that the original people will step back up again and reclaim their throne. So y'all continue to lie, you are going to fall. Believe that. And I rest my case on that. I ain't no damn Moor. All right? Well, you're right. That's why I said I'm not going to apologize for telling the truth. All right? Don't tell me who I am. Okay? Y'all trying to lie to my people? It ain't going to happen. Not on my watch. Anyway. Okay? So there you go. I just read to you again that it says right here. Okay? And I'm reading from that's an act. And also, that's all that stuff is there for you guys could research that yourself. That came straight from the virtual Jamestown from Virginia. It says November 1682. Okay, 1682. My brothers and sisters, an act to repeal a former law making Indians and others free. It says 2 acts passed in November of 1682 joined Native Americans and Africans into one racial group called Negroes. Let me ask you a question. Whenever were Native Americans, the one that called themselves the real Indians, when were they ever called Negroes? I'll wait. I'll wait. You see, that's why I don't get into debates, man. I don't get into debates because I know facts. You feel me? All this talking and fighting and cursing, I don't get into all that because I know the facts. I know who I am. You feel me? So let me ask these so-called natives. November 1682, the 2 acts that were passed to join Native Americans, was it y'all? When were you ever called Negroes? And why would they join Africans and you together and call you Negroes when you have different complexions? Obviously, they have the same complexion. They look alike. That's why they were able to put them together and call them Negroes and other slaves. Christopher was a damn blasted liar. Not on my watch. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Y'all want the truth? I don't think y'all can handle it. Well, you know what? I'm not going to put that out there. My people can handle the truth, but the natives, you cannot handle the truth. All right? And I have a source here for you to click the link, and I give you all the resources because I like to prove everything I talk about. Now, I have another link. It says, Making Indians White. brothers and sisters, and I'm going to break some things down for y'all today. Let us go into another one. All right. So I just went over that. All right. I'm just going to read a little bit of the virtual Jamestown laws on slavery. Okay. So let us just a little bit, but you could do all the reading you want in your own spare time. But I'm going to read a little bit of that. Okay. October 1629, Act 9. Although this law did not rule out the possibility that English women would work in the tobacco fields, it did begin the process of creating a distinction between the work that English and African women performed in the colony. Because they were taught, they were the ones who were the slaves then. Okay? We were not slaves. Some of us was enslaved, yes. Some of the American Indians were enslaved, but because we fought so hard, we had treaties with the Moors. And I'm not proud to say, a lot of my ancestors did take part in the slave trade because they went into commerce with the Moors. So now we are paying for the deeds of our ancestors by joining these devils, okay, to enslave other people. And not just enslave other people, but enslave our own. You see, we have to own up to what our ancestors did and forgive them so that we could move on. Because you see, this thing is haunting us today. It is haunting us today. All right? It is haunting us today. It is thought fit for all those that work in the ground of what quality or condition soever shall pay tithes to the ministers. And you have the source here, of course. All right? And on September 7th, 1630, Davis received a whipping and had to acknowledge that he committed fornication with an African woman because the legislatures believed that interracial fornication was more sinful. Compare Davis' punishment with that handed out to Robert Sweat in 1640. Her Davis to be soundly whipped before an assembly of Negroes and others for abusing himself to the dishonor of God and the shame of Christians by defiling his body in laying with a Negro, which fault he is acknowledged next Sunday. All right? So all that information is there, so you could research it yourself. But I'm just going to read a little more. Okay? All persons except Negroes to be provided with arms and ammunition or be fined at pleasure of the governor and council. And you have the source. On March 1642, Act 1, this statute enacted the first legal distinction between English and African women. The difference reflects that fact that Virginia's legislators believed that English and African women would play different roles in the colony. Be it also enacted and confirmed that there be 10 pounds of tubals per pole and a bushel of corn per pole paid to the ministers within the several parishes of the colony for all tithable persons. You see, back then they didn't have money. So what they was using food and corn and bushel and all those different things. That was what they were tithing with. So that's why if you look in the Bible, you would see they were tithing with the same thing. Like I said, the Bible ain't got nothing to do with you going to heaven. The Bible ain't got nothing to do with a man coming on clouds to save you, man. That's a bunch of BS, okay? It has nothing to do with that. The Bible is a trust. It's a trust. It's the book of instruction for slaves, for debtors and trustees. That's all it is. Okay, the creditors and the debtors, the slave and the masters. That's all the book is about. Of course, some other allegories in there, but know what it's really about. You feel me? And the pastors are the same ministers they had back in the days. Ain't nothing changed. Same pimps. Ain't nothing changed. You feel me? Right? Let us proceed. All right, come on. What's going on here now? Come on, screen. Don't freeze on me now. Don't do that to me now. All right, okay. All right, 1644 to 1645, Act 8. African women and their descendants were counted among the tithes in 1644. Now, you see, that's Christians talking. They were tithing African women and their children. So in other words, if you went to church, you had to give the minister tithe your women or tithe your children. That must have been a big damn collection plate to put a whole man on a woman on a collection plate as tithe. So you have to get the understanding of Christianity, all right? And the demonic nature of Christianity. And our people going around calling themselves Christians is a complete disrespect to our ancestors. That's why you have churches on every corner and we ain't going a damn place, because it's a disrespect. Our ancestors don't honor that. Y'all want the truth? I'm going to give y'all the truth. The question is, can you handle the truth? That is the question. All right? We have 1644. And because there shall be no scruple or evasion to who are not tithable, it is resolved by this grand assembly, shall all Negro men and women and all other men from the age of 16 to 60 shall be educated tithable. Okay? So men and women was being tithed in church as offering. Yes, that's what the Christians was doing. And those were acts that were passed. You feel me? But anyway, I don't have to read any more of that. That's there in the link below, and it's in the lesson plan, so you could take your time and read all that yourself. I just wanted to go and point out to you on the 1960, what's that? It wasn't 19, what am I saying? It was, I think it was 16. Give me a second here, guys, just so I can get that date right. It was 1682, all right, when they show a clear distinction, all right, in terms of all the people that were on the land at that time. Negroes, Moors, mulattoes, or the different classes, okay, or the different statuses, all right? Indians was one by itself. And I have to go back to that and say again, we are not Moors and we were not Moors. You feel me? Okay, so let us go into making, and all these documents are in the lesson plan, all right? So we're gonna read here for a second. This is called Making Indians White. So sometimes some of you may go back into the census and see that some of your family have a status of white, right? It doesn't mean that they were white. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean that they were white in complexion. It is just a status. Okay, brothers and sisters, it is just a status. White has nothing to do with the color of skin in those times. It is only of late that they are considering white to be a complexion for what's called the Caucasian race. But back in that time, it was more so a status in the earliest phase of the term white. Okay? So a lot of Indians were considered white as a status. Now, that, of course, let me take it from the top, and then we'll just come down real quick, so we can see the title of the book and what it is and where it came from. All right. Making Indians White, the judicial abolition of native slavery in the revolutionary Virginia and its racial legacy. So you see, Virginia has a deep history, okay, as to the things that transpired with the Indians, with our ancestors. And the majority of the damage was done in Virginia. Go ask Walter Plecker. Now, introduction. In 1772, Judge Mason, later famous as the father of the Bill of Rights, represented a slave named Robin and 11 other enslaved plaintiffs in the General Court of Virginia, the colony's highest court. The slaves claimed that maternal descent from an American Indian made their enslavement illegal, and Mason marshaled arguments from natural law and statutory history to support the condition. You hear that? Natural law. And he said that the slave claimed that maternal descendant, in other words, I came from my mother and therefore I'm an American Indian, and it made that illegal for you to enslave me. So because you see in the laws, it was unlawful to enslave an Indian, so they had to get our people to give up their identity as Indians and accept colored, black, African American, Negro, so that they could persecute you with their legal codes and statutes. Those who have ears, let them hear, and those who have eyes, let them see. All right? And in a terse one-paragraph opinion, typical of the era, the court agreed freeing the plaintiffs and ordering their former master to pay them nominal damages. You see, anytime these people violate your rights, they are supposed to compensate you for the damages. But how can you be compensated when you're calling yourself Black and African American and nigger? That means you have no standing. You have no status. You are dead in law. Brothers and sisters, those who have ears, let them hear. Okay? Note that this comment uses the words Indian and Native interchangeably to refer to the descendants of North America's indigenous inhabitants. I'm going to read that again. Note that this comment uses the words Indian and Native interchangeably to refer to the descendants of North American or America's indigenous inhabitants. Who are these people? They are the copper-colored races. They are the dark-skinned people that have always been here on this landmass. And they're talking about me, you, the so-called people that call themselves Black and African Americans. We are the indigenous people of the Americas. The original people they call the Indians. Okay? It is not this light-skinned, pale-skinned people going around talking about the origin. They are the original people. That's a lie. And I've already proven that to you. Okay? The word Indian, as opposed to the bulkier Native American, is used despite its colonial implications because it accurately captures the 17th and the 18th century legal categorizations and discussions at the heart of this comment. I'm going to read that again because I don't think y'all hearing what Chief is saying today. And I'm going to break down exactly what that means. The word Indian, as opposed to the bulkier Native American, is used despite of its colonial implications because it accurately captures the 17th and the 18th century legal categorization and discussions as the heart of this comment. What does that mean? It means that we will always call Indians. Always call Indians. So even if the words Indian and Native is interchangeably, the word Indian is used more opposed to the bulkier Native American. Okay, just because of the colonial implications, because since the Moors came to our land and brought the pale man, they have always considered us to be Indians, and that's a term that we adopted to call ourselves. So right here in what's called the United States, American Indian, and in South America, because Central America is new, okay? But in South America, they call them or us the Amerindians. So you have the Amerindians, which was one word put together, and then you have the American Indians, literally the same thing. They just put the words together, okay? Note also that all spelling, grammar, and capitalization in quotations are original unless otherwise noted, and such language has not been modified or marked as incorrect. Okay? Freedom suits were common in colonial Virginia. Although defined as a property for almost all legal purposes and defined rights of citizenship, slaves could allege illegal enslavement and sue their freedom. Courts recognized such claims throughout the slaveholding South from slavery's 17th century beginning onwards, or onward rather. These suits offered one of the few routes to manumission in early America. The ordinary posture of Robin versus Hathaway case, though belied its extraordinary result. The court's decision marked a watershed in the legal history of Virginia slavery. It was the first recorded holding of an Anglo-American court that maternal descendant from an American Indian alone established the right of freedom. You hear that? So even if at that time, even if your father was considered an Indian and your mother was an African, you would still be a slave because you didn't come from the womb of an American Indian woman. However, if you came from the womb of an Indian woman, then that established a right for you to get your freedom. Because the mother always has 100% proof that the child is hers because it came from her. but the father is always a speculation. You feel me? This outcome was remarkable in the context of early America, where, despite present-day conceptions that all slaves were Africans. You hear that? Brothers and sisters, let's read this again. This outcome was remarkable in the context of early America, where, despite present-day conceptions that all slaves were Africans, okay? It was a conception. It was a presumption. It was assumed that all slaves were Africans. Indian slavery was ubiquitous. Indian slaves, again, so you see there's a difference between Indian slaves and African slaves. However, you know that they were both put together and categorized as what? Negroes. What does that say? Hence, the implication is they were of the same complexion. So who are the hell are these native people calling themselves Indians right now? They are imposters. All right, and go tell them Chief Kalinago said so. Indian slaves could be found in all 13 mainland British colonies in 1772, as well as in the French and Spanish colonies. Okay? I'm going to read a little bit of the side notes. In his argument, Robin Mason alluded to hundreds of such actions brought in this court. The most famous such case is Dred Scott versus Stanford, U.S. 1830, 398, 1857. However, exceptionally, the attention that case received, Dred Scott typified a common practice in which slaves petitioned and sued for their freedom. It is important, however, not to overstate the importance of Robin alone, since there are suggestions in the records that the decision was emblematic rather than causal in this transformation. In his argument in the case, Mason claimed that the hundreds of the descendants of Indians have obtained their freedom because that was the deal. Indians were not supposed to be slaves, okay, when we made the deal with the Moors. But they turned around and enslaved our people because of greed, okay? Now, on the action brought in this court, it is impossible to judge the accuracy of this claim since most of the records of the general court were destroyed during the Civil War. Ironically, everything is always destroyed. Just like in 1921, the entire census or the majority of the census was burned. Ironically. So you see, they're making it difficult for us to go back and trace our lineage. So my brothers and sisters, with that being said, when you are doing your lineage or your genealogy and you could only go past a certain standpoint in history, don't stress yourself because you are who you say you are. All you need is 2 or 3 witnesses, get your affidavit, and that is the truth. I am that I say that I am. You feel me? So don't stress yourself. Yes, it's important to trace where you came from. It is good if you could get the records. If you can't, don't stress yourself. Because if my grandmother told me that's who I was, then damn it, that's who I am. You feel me? So don't hurt your head, because a lot of people always hit me up, oh, Chief, I could only go so far. I could only do this. Man, listen, don't stress yourself, because we had an oral history. Okay? We had an oral history. All you need is 2 or 3 witnesses, that's it, and an affidavit, and it's done. No court could dispute that. Period, point blank. All right? Now let us proceed. There is, however, some evidence against Mason's claim. Besides Robin, no similar freedom suits appear in the surviving general court records. Moreover, it seems improbable that the court would need to rehear at such length and redecide a legal principle that was a universal as Mason claims. Finally, as late as 1769, Virginian laws described free Indians, suggesting that enslaved Indians continued to exist by 1777. The term Indian had vanished from the state's what? Slave laws. Okay? Now check this out. Forbes, Africans and Native Americans, that's a book which you guys should read. The Language of Race and Evolution of the Red-Black Peoples, provided a list of terms used in slave laws in which Indian Indian last appeared in a 1769 law. So what they did was, how did they, you see, they always talk about, oh, the Indians are extinct. Yes, they made us extinct only on paper. Brothers and sisters, you have to read between the lines. Okay? Read between the lines. Like I said, the lesson link is below the video. Okay, with all the clickable links. So everything that I'm going through right now, you have it at your disposal. All right? So this is how they made us extinct. They took the term American Indian out of the laws, and that's where Walter Plecker came in with the eugenics. You feel me? Changing our identity from Indians to color, black, and all these different things. You feel me? So that's how they made us extinct. It is not because they killed all of us off or the majority of us off. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. We are still here. Okay? Nonetheless, even if Robin alone did not mark a watershed in legal views on Indian slavery, it was emblematic of a broader change. Well into the 1750s, courts had not even considered the possibility that Indian enslavement could be illegal. All right? Even if the deal was in those treaties that the enslavement of an Indian was illegal, the courts were still having a problem with it. Okay? Northampton County Order Book number 23, 1751 to 1753 at 186 to 187, June 1752. Hereinafter, Northampton County Order Book number 23 on file with the Library of Virginia, describing the 1752 case of Anne Williams, who, despite Indian descent, remained enslaved. For more context, see infra notes 121 to 23 and accompanying text. At this evidence suggests between 1750 and 1800, Indian slavery became presumptively illegal, a trend in which Robin played an important, if not this positive role. All right. Now let us proceed. I was just reading the side notes of North America. In Virginia alone, thousands of descendants of enslaved Indians toiled along with African slaves on plantations. Now, my brothers and sisters, go ask these natives when they were ever on plantations with Africans. Go ask them that. Okay, go ask these Native Americans, when were they ever on plantations with Africans as slaves? Because guess what? They are not the Indians. They are not the real people they call the Indians. Okay? I'm showing y'all all the proof. So like I said, that's why I don't get into debates, man. I just show facts. Because people just like to get on the internet and argue and debate and with no facts. I'm showing y'all the facts. It's not hearsay. I'm showing you the facts in their documents. You feel me? That's the difference. Now, Robin versus Hardaway repudiated this history and deemed the previously common institution illegal in all but a few circumstances, inaugurating a line of cases that culminated in 1806. In the end, Virginia courts concluded that enslaved descendants of Native Americans were prima facie free, judicially abolishing Indian slavery in Virginia. This precedent spread throughout the antebellum period. Courts in Connecticut, Louisiana, Missouri, New Jersey, South Carolina, and Tennessee all grappled with Virginia's decision and debated whether maternal descent from American Indians was sufficient to establish freedom. That's why I said we had a matriarchal society only because the mother was 100% proof that the child exists. She was the one that could birth a nation. The father was always, a suspect. In other words, the father is always an assumption, but the mother is proof that the child came from the mother. So with that being said, the heritage, culture, wealth was handed down and passed down through the mother. Okay? It doesn't mean because women ruled or men ruled. Now, we had a balanced society. So a lot of times when people start talking about, the rule of the matriarch, man, listen, don't get me started on that. Ain't nobody ruling me, all right? Period. I have one authority over me, and that's the Great Spirit. That's it. Nobody else, not no woman and no man. Period. All right. So we have to put all those things in context. Like I said, hope y'all can handle the truth. Explaining this shift in the racial basis of slavery is more difficult than observing it. The Robin Court and its successors claimed merely to be engaged in statutory interpretations, and Mason argued for Indians' freedom on the basis of libertarian principles of Revolutionary War. This comment argues, however, that the ultimate grounds for this doctrinal innovation lay deeper in the changing demographics of early America, although not the judge's conscious motivation. Robin and its progeny solidified chattel slavery rather than weakening it, by making Indians what? Legally white or black, as we shall see in some instances. The courts erased a complex triracial past and created, instead of a society legally divided into the stacked categories of free whites and enslaved blacks. This erasure has present-day legal consequences for federal tribal recognition, struggles over tribal membership, and interpretation of equal protection clause. So brothers and sisters, as you could see, by making Indians what? Legally white. So you will go to some of your records and see that your mother and father, and I'm talking about your greats, they had white on their birth certificate or on a census record. It is not because they were white in complexion, it was a status, because that meant white was free. So because they were free, they took up the status of being white, until that whole concept of being white was just taken and allocated to people with pale skin. Brothers and sisters, do you hear me? Let me drink some tea on that. Like I said, for all those of you, the link for that lesson is in the link below, please. Okay? Okay. So this is already in the lesson plan. All you have to do is click on that and read it yourself. So I'm not going to read any further. I just wanted to prove to you and show you again that even so-called American Indians, yes, of dark skin, were legally considered white. It has nothing to do with the skin color. White is a status. All right? So give them back their dead black status. If you were to be anything, your status would be white. I'm just saying. Okay? Just so y'all know. No, it doesn't mean we should put white. Okay, it doesn't mean that. All right, all I'm just saying is know the difference when they start using white. All I'm just saying is white is a status. Okay, now if you were to even put a status, all right, don't put black, put white. That's a status. It means that you are free, you are pure. Okay, that's what it means. If white is a character, that's what it means. Pure character. White, describes your character. The character of the invaders, of the pale-skinned people, as you could see, is black. It came from swat, sorted, dirty, filthy, foul, vile. That is them. That's not us. Stop calling yourself black. All right? But for me, like I said, I can only speak for myself. I am a man first. That is the highest authority. Okay? That is the highest authority. Under the Most High, under the Creator, under the Great Spirit, the highest authority on earth is man. And when I say man, man has woman and male man in it. So when I say man, I'm not leaving out the sisters, okay? Man consists of him and her. So when I say man, I'm talking about both energies, masculine and feminine energy. Because in the beginning, the Creator created man. And in man was the male man and the female man. So when y'all start talking about with all the bullshit y'all want to listen to from all these people that's here to just tell you things and make you feel good because they know women deal with emotions and women like to hear things that sound good. Oh, the black woman is God, but yet still living on the so-called black man. You see, they're teaching division and they're teaching exactly what the slave masters want to teach you. Okay? the separation, isolate the woman from the man, call her a god and call the man a beast. No woman is my God. Okay? And no man is my God either. So let's get the record straight. Like I said, if y'all can handle the truth, this platform is not for you. No so-called black woman is my God for a couple of reasons. I've never seen a black woman. And number two, no woman is my God. She is my equal, just like I'm her equal. I am not above her, and she's not above me. Okay? It takes the both of us to create what's called God. So when you're listening to these people with their platforms, and they're telling you things that they want you to hear so they could take your money, take your energy, feed you more into a realm of disillusion, that's on you. But you will perish for the lack of knowledge, because those are the same people that's going around calling you black. All right? So, like I said, that information is in the link below, so let us proceed. All right, let me just close this out, making Indians white. And let us go to the next link. The next link is an act to reclassify colors. You see, I'm giving you all the facts. I'm not giving you speculations or opinions. When it's my opinion, I will let you know it's my opinion. So let us go to the next link. And once again, all these links are clickable. All right, this right here is an act to reclassify colors, and we will get into that. And those are sources that you could verify yourself. This is a Senate hearing. All right, that's a Senate hearing straight from their documents, the Library of Congress. So I'm not making this up. All right, this is hearing before the Committee on Indian Affairs, United States Senate, 107th Congress, second session, on S.2694 to extend federal recognition to the Chickamaumani tribe, the Chickamaumani Indian tribe, the Eastern Division, the Upper Matapuni tribe, the Rappahannock tribe, Inc., the Monacan tribe, and the Mansemon tribe. October 9th, 2002, Washington, D.C., U.S. Government Printing Office, Washington 203, well, 2003. All right. Here we go. Committee Indian Affairs. Let us just go straight into the reading. You have the contents. I want to go straight into the reading. No need to read the contents. U.S. Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, Washington, D.C. The committee met pursuant to notice at 10:03 a.m. They give a time and everything. The room 485, Russell Senate Officer Building, Honorable Ben Nighthorse, Campbell, Vice President of the committee, presiding, present Senators Campbell and Inouye. Statement of Honorable Ben Nighthorse Campbell, U.S. Senator from Colorado, Vice Chairman, Committee on Indian Affairs. So we're going to get right into it. Senator Campbell, the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, will be in session. This morning, we will be taking testimony on S.2694, the Tumasonini Jordan Indian Tribes of Virginia Federal Recognition Act of 2002. Senator Campbell, I see, and let us start with the dialogue, okay? I see Senator Allen is here. We were just doing an introductory statement. You are welcome to join us at the dais. Senator Inouye has informed me that he is going to have to leave early, so before I make my opening statement, I would like to call on the chairman if he would like to say a few words before he leaves. Statement of Honorable Daniel K. Inouye, U.S. Senator from Hawaii, Chairman Committee on Indian Affairs. The Chairman, I thank you, the Vice President, very much. I have to leave shortly for a conference of Department of Defense Appropriations Bill, but I wanted to be here to welcome our colleagues from the House, Mr. Moran, and the Virginia delegation of the Senate. I want to commend all of you for your support of the bill that is before the committee today. I wish to advise all of you that I have read the statements and I believe that you make a most compelling case for the Virginia tribes that your bill seeks to address. I am particularly grateful that you have identified and appreciate the difference between federal recognition and other matters for which there are separate processes and distinct thresholds that must be met, such as the taking of land in trust and the conduct of gaming activities. The prepared statement of our colleagues from the House, Congressman Morin, details the sad and tragic history of Virginia tribes. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to assure you that this committee will work with you and the Virginia tribes to develop a new chapter in our history books, one of which we can all be proud. With that, Mr. Chairman, I thank you very much, and I regret I must leave. Senator Campbell, thank you. Mr. Chairman, this bill was introduced on June 27, 2002 by Senator Allen for himself and Senator Warner. We have the pleasure of having Senator Allen here. I understand Senator Warner is on his way, but Congressman Moran is also on the floor voting and may not be here. This bill would provide legislative recognition to the 6 Indian groups that are located in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The ancestors of the tribes in Virginia were among the first peoples of the Americas to encounter Europeans when the latter arrived in the early 1600s, and we are very familiar with those stories. Now, brothers and sisters, this is imperative. This is very, very important. I'm going to read that again, because you see, this is admission that the Indians were here again, proving that we were here before the Europeans. Okay? I'm going to read that again. The ancestors of the tribes in Virginia were among the first natives of the Americas to encounter Europeans when the latter, which is the Europeans, arrived in the early 1600s. So before the 1500s, there were no Europeans in our land. So let me ask you a question. Who were the people that came in 1492? That's right. They were people who looked just like us. They were Moors. So when you start looking at the true narrative and looking at laws and legislations and congressional records, you see the truth for what it is. You see it for what it is. The Virginia tribes were recognized and dealt with by the Crown of England as sovereign entities with whom treaties were struck. Isn't that what I told y'all earlier? The Crown of England back then was who? They were the Moors, the Blackamoors. If you look at the movie The Night or the Whatever Night with Martin Lawrence and Morgan Freeman, what did they call them? Blackamoors. They were the nobles of England. And at that time, they looked at us as a sovereign people because they had to deal with us from a government to government basis until the Moors sold us out. So when Chief Kalanago is talking, I am showing you facts. Facts, not opinion. Facts over feelings. I don't care what you feel. If you can't deal with the facts, get the hell out the way. Because the truth is coming. The truth is here. I'm going to read that again. The Virginia tribes were recognized and dealt with by the Crown of England. Who was the Crown of England at that time? Huh? You talking about King James? You talking about those kings? They were dark-skinned. They were Moors. They were Blackamoors. So then the king of the Crown of England as a sovereign entities with whom treaties were struck. Like I told y'all before, we had treaties with these Moors. But they didn't honor those treaties. And that's why we're in the situation we are today. And that's why they are still trying, pushing hard to make all of us Moors so they could continue the colonization of the American Aborigine. But not on my watch, because I'm going to tell the truth. The 6 groups seeking federal acknowledgement are currently recognized as Indian tribes by the Commonwealth of Virginia and England as well. You see, even England, the Crown, the original nobles of England up to this present day still recognize those tribes as what? Sovereign nations. as Indian tribes right now. Okay? Why do you think the current so-called Prince of England had to marry an American Aborigine? Do you think she was a nobody? No. She's an American Aborigine, meaning that she has heir. Okay, she has title to that land. So by him marrying her, literally, he put himself back in the trust. Y'all better wake up. Y'all better recognize what Chief is talking about today. All right? I am told by the staff that while he was governor, Senator Allen took part in an annual treaty honoring ceremony with the Virginia tribes that took place at Thanksgiving at the governor's home in Richmond. I commend him for doing that. In February 1999, wow, what a year, Prince, 1999. We're going to party like it's 1999. All right, February 1999, both the Virginia House of Delegates and the Virginia Senate passed House Joint Resolution 754 urging the U.S. Congress to grant historic congressional federal recognition of the 8 tribes recognized by the state of Virginia. The bill before us would do that, just that, but would exempt the Mattaponi and the Pumonke, which have elected not to take part in this legislation, because you see, a lot of our people didn't want to sell out. They didn't want to sign no treaties with the federal government, which is a corporation, but a lot of them sold out. All right, let us proceed. When he was the governor of Virginia, Senator Allen called for the tribes to be recognized. As both senators know, I have generally been opposed to legislative recognition as a substitute for the federal acknowledgement process, except in extenuating circumstances. I am sure we may hear some of those today. Nonetheless, I understand that the frustration of petitioning groups, some have waited generations to have their petition acted on. These Virginia tribes have submitted petitions for federal acknowledgement to the branch of Acknowledge and Research called the Bar. Wow. How ironic is that the Bar also deals with the Bar Association, those fake attorneys. Man, I tell y'all, man, there's nothing new under the sun. Those who have eyes, let them see. And have attempted for some years to obtain legislative recognition, but to date have been unsuccessful. In light of the upcoming 400th anniversary of the foundation of the James Colony in 1607, the Commonwealth understandably wants to fully include the Virginia tribes in the celebrations, and in fact supports the tribes' bid for the federal acknowledgement. I look forward to hearing from our colleagues and our witnesses. With that, I would ask Senator Allen if he has some comments that he would like to make before we hear from the witnesses. Statement of Honorable Judge Allen, U.S. Senator from Virginia. Senator Allen, yes, I would, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, I want to thank you, Senator Campbell, for your leadership, your statement, and understanding, as well as that of the Chairman, Senator Anui, for having this hearing on such short notice. I recognize that there are many issues arising, but this is something that is very important to these 6 Virginia Indian tribes. I think that the views that I will be expressing will be amplified by those of Senator Warner, who also joins me in this effort. Virginians are unified. I respectfully have asked this committee to begin the process of federal recognition for the Chickahominy, the Eastern Chickahominy, the Upper Mattaponi, the Rappahannock, the Monacan, and the Nansemond tribes by voting in favor of this measure, which we call the Thomasina Jordan Indian Tribes of Virginia Federal Recognition Act of 2002. I have introduced this legislation with my colleague, Senator Warner, to provide long overdue recognition status for a group of American Indians that have been part of this country's history from the inception, which the English settlers came into Virginia. You hear that? That means we have always been here. The 6 tribes that are seeking federal recognition have suffered humiliation and indignities that have gone largely unnoticed by most Americans. That's why they have to pass a legislation, okay, a bill to show that they apologize to the American Indians. So therefore, an injustice was done. Yes, we could sue them and hold them liable. But the problem is you cannot get reparations because you are here calling yourself Black, African American, and niggers. So you don't exist. So how can the people who don't exist get reparations? Man, I'm just saying, yo, for real. It's not difficult, people. It's not tough. It's not you making it hard on yourself. All right, let's proceed. Many of these injustices were not a result of any action the Virginia Indians undertook. They were rather due to the government policies. So you're saying that they are telling you, man, it wasn't the Indian force that they went through these injustices. They are admitting to what they did. They are rather due to the government policies that sought to eliminate their culture and heritage. That's us. They eliminated our culture and heritage. Okay? They violated those treaties. Therefore, they should be held liable and we should be compensated. But my people perish for the lack of knowledge. I believe because of these facts, the circumstances of their situation warrants congressional motion for the federal recognition. I can understand the concern that my colleagues expressed over granting federal recognition without the investigation process used by the Department of Interior. However, if one closely examines the history of these Virginia Indians, they will see why this legislation has been introduced and why my colleagues, Congresswoman Joan Davis and Congressman Jim Moran, continue to push for recognition on the House side. I just took a water break, pardon me. The history of these 6 tribes begins well before the first Europeans landed in this continent. I'm going to repeat that again. You see, because a lot of times people think, you know, Chief is just talking, but I like to back up things with facts. Okay? Even in his story, yes, his story is distorted, but in his story, you will find our story because our story got lost in his story. So therefore, I am stepping into his story and pulling our story out and bringing the truth to you. You feel me? Facts over feelings. Let us read that again. Let us go to the top, right here. The history of these 6 tribes begins well before the first Europeans landed on this continent. Not just on the mainland, but on the continent, period. Our history existed. History has shown their continuous inhabitants of Virginia. You hear that? History has shown, even in his story, it is telling you that it has shown the continuous inhabitants in Virginia. In other words, they have always been in Virginia from time immemorial. We have always been there. We were not brought in Virginia on slave ships from Africa because we are not Africans. Facts over feelings. We are not Moors. Through the last 400 years, they have undergone great hardship. However, many have worked to maintain their traditions and their heritage through those difficult centuries. To put the long history of the Virginia Indians in context, while many federally recognized tribes have signed agreements with the U.S., okay, a lot of them sold out. A lot of them sold out. And I know a lot of them right now that's on YouTube. You know, the ones that you support all the time? The ones that you give all your donations to, the one that you subscribe to in thousands and thousands, guess what? They have Native American tribal cards. They sold out, but they are the ones that you support though. Guess what? Chief Kalanago is not a sellout, okay? Because a Native American chief, you know what? And he just transcended, he just passed. I think about a month and a half, 2 months ago. So, you know, may the Great Spirit guide his soul. I ain't got nothing against nobody. I'm just speaking the truth. But he was a Native American chief, and I met him. And when he met me, he told his tribal people or his tribal members He said, this man here is a chief. And when we introduced, we were telling our stories, and I called myself an Aborigine. And nowhere in hell or heaven, he called himself an Aborigine. He kept saying, I'm native. And I wasn't trying to debate that because I know exactly what you meant. I know you're a native. But I'm just letting you know that I'm an Aborigine. And he couldn't dispute that. So he stuck on him being a native and that they were always here. I'm indigenous to the land. Yes, you are indigenous, but you weren't always here. But anyway, that being said, I didn't go to their event to disrespect. I was invited as a guest, and they respected me. So he said, "Hey, he's a chief, and I want you guys to give him the same respect that you give me." And after they had the little powwow, he pulled me to the side and he said, "Chief, I could get you your native tribal card." It was a Thursday. He said, "I could get you your native tribal card by Saturday. The same in about 2 or 3 days." He said, "All I need is your information, and I could get you your native tribal card, and you will be federally recognized." I looked at him straight in his eyes, and I said, "My brother," yes, I called him my brother. I said, "My brother, with all due respect, to be a native or federally recognized means that I'm selling my ancestors out. I'm not going to do such a thing. I don't care what the benefits are. Thank you, but no thank you. You know why? Because I'm not a sellout." But I know many of them right now that's on YouTube, thousands of views. Yes, they're dropping knowledge. I got to give them that. But guess what? They have sold out. They got Native American tribal cards. I know who they are, but I'm not going to call no names, though. Like I said, y'all better recognize the real among you. That's what you need to do. All right? Anyway, where we at? So we got that to put. All right, good. Let's continue. Government. The Virginia Indian tribes hold treaties with the King of England. You hear that? The Virginia Indian tribes hold treaties with the King of England, including a treaty in 1677 between the tribes and Charles II. Charles II was a Moor. Okay? So don't get it twisted. I'm letting y'all know facts over feelings that the real true royals of England are the Blackamoors. And they are the ones that's here holding this slavery system. Okay, they have taken away the slave system from the field, the physical slaves, and they have made us slaves on paper. Why do you think they were the first ones to come out with the knowledge, pushing about laws and aborigines and all that, paperwork and all that? The Moors. Why? Because they knew about it. Man, listen, y'all better recognize, okay? Y'all better recognize the traitors among you. And the ancestors have to force them to talk, tell the truth. You feel me? Y'all gonna learn today. Y'all gonna learn. Charles II was a so-called black man. And up to this present date, a lot of these tribes still have treaties with the Moors in England. But now they have these fake royals letting you think that the pale man is the real royal. No, they're just placeholders. Because these Moors, they don't want us to know that they are the ones enslaving us here, because the United States is still a colony of England. It is still under the crown, okay? That American Revolution where they supposedly won their independence is a facade. They never won their independence. They are still crown colonies of England, just like Canada is. They are still only the Blackamoors, the true royals of England and Europe. Okay? So that's who your slave masters are. Stop looking at the Caucasian man and blaming the pale man for everything. The pale man was slaves just like you. They were miseducated just like you. Now, I'm not making an excuse for them. I'm not saying that. But all I'm just saying is they're not the ones in power. All this Trump and all this, trust me, they're just a facade, man. They work for the real bosses, which is the Blackamoors, the true royals. The Moors, okay? They're still in power, but you just don't know. The deal is still here. They have an organic government, and they have a fake de facto government. And that's the one that's controlling you right now, the one that the Moors control. But you don't know them. You're going to learn today. Indeed, the ceremony that Senator Campbell mentioned, where there is a tribute paid, is a treaty that goes way back before our succession and independence from Great Britain. where the tribes were to pay taxes to the crown, the colony of 20 beaver pelts at the going of the geese. This is a continuation of that heritage and that treaty, again, that precedes even our independence from Great Britain. All right, that was a treaty with the Moors. Like the plight of many Indian tribes across America during the last 4 centuries, the Virginia tribes were continually moved from their land and many assimilated into U.S. society. Okay, let me ask you a question. How many so-called natives got forced and assimilated into U.S. society? In other words, the hood, the urban areas. Y'all don't even know y'all are the hood Indians. You don't even know that you're the urban Indians. You out here calling yourself Black, African American, and niggers. A disrespect to our ancestors. Even then, the Indians of Virginia were not extended the same rights offered to the U.S. citizens. All right? Why do you think on to this present day, any other culture could come here and create businesses, be successful, even when they tell you that you're an African? Why is that real Africans could come here and be successful, but you, the original man or woman, cannot get a break in your own land? Doesn't that sound fishy to you? You don't find no problem with that? Huh? Man, my people perish for the lack of knowledge, man. That's what it is. The years of racial discrimination and cohesive policies took a tremendous toll on the population of Virginia Indians. During the 20th century, at the turn of the 20th century, members of these 6 tribes suffered even more injustice. New state mandates forced Virginia Indians to renounce their Indian names and heritage. To what? Black, colored, niggers, and African Americans. Let me ask you a question. How come these natives are still calling themselves Indians? But I'm just gonna read that to you again because y'all think I'm making this up. Now we're gonna have church today. This is the real church where the truth is told. Okay? The years of racial discrimination and cohesive policies took a tremendous toll on the population of Virginia Indians. During the 20th century and the turn of the 20th century, members of these 6 tribes suffered even more injustices. New state mandates forced Virginia Indians to what? Renounce their Indian names and what? Heritage. In other words, if you call yourself an Indian, you're gonna die. If you call yourself an Indian, you're gonna go to jail. So what? Grandma couldn't say we was Indian because she was afraid. Grandpa couldn't say that we was Indians because what? Grandpa was afraid. You know what Grandpa had to say? Like the little Red Riding Hood, how she found her way back home by putting the little breadcrumbs. That's what Grandma had to do. Well, baby, you know, you have a little Indian in you, instead of saying you're the real Indian because she was still afraid. Y'all gonna learn today. Y'all gonna learn today. All right? Y'all gonna learn. So we have to give up our Indian names. So that whole Kunta Kinte bullshit, y'all better miss me with that. Okay? Miss me with that. We had indigenous American Indian names. And our heritage and culture was stolen from us. All right? And I'm talking about that was just a few years ago. They're making it seem like that's ancient history. No. They say if you want to hide anything from a nigga, put it in a book. Niggas don't read. I ain't no nigga, so I'm always reading. Anyway, the passing of the Racial Integrity Act of 1924 began a dark time in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. This measure, which was enforced by a state official, the registrar of the Bureau of Vital Statistics, a man named who? Walter Ashby Plecker. That son of a man. Watch your mouth, chief. Sought to destroy all records of the Virginia Indians and recognize them as what? Colored. Man, look at the facts right there in your face. And that came from what? Their own congressional records. Let me ask you a question. Whenever were these natives ever called colored? Man, listen, the truth is stranger than fiction. Y'all want the truth? Can y'all handle the truth? I'm going to read that again. The passing of the Racial Integrity Act of 1924. Okay, there was an Indian Citizen Act that was passed to make all Indian citizens. Okay, but there was a provision, provided that it did not take away your rights or your heritage or your culture or your land. Otherwise, you would be a United States citizen. But by default, because it did all of that, it impaired who we are. By default, we are not United States citizens. You feel me? But I'm going to read that again. The passing of the Racial Integrity Act of 1924 began a dark time in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. This measure, which was enforced by a state official, the Registrar of Bureau of the Vital Statistics, a man named Walter Ashley Pecker, sought to destroy all records of Virginia Indians and recognize them as what? As colored people. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you heard a Native American being identified as colored? Man, listen, I could stop the lecture right here. I could stop the lecture right here. I don't know if y'all want me to continue, but I could stop right here. I could stop right here. But you know what? I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue. Let us proceed. People were threatened with imprisonment for nothing. You hear that? People were imprisoned. People were threatened with imprisonment for noting Indian on their birth what certificate? Why do you think Granny was afraid? Why do you think Grandma was afraid? Because if you call yourself who you were, you would go to jail. My brothers and sisters, this stuff happened in 1924. In 1924, this thing happened. In 1924. So how are you going to tell me your great-grandmother don't know who she is? It's because she's afraid. She's still afraid. That ancestral fear. So if in 1924 we still had, Indian on our birth certificates, how is that in 2018 my people going around calling themselves niggers, African American and black? Answer me that. Anyway, mothers were not allowed to take their newborn children home if they were given an Indian name. You hear that? So now, if you're in the hospital and you're having your baby and you give your baby an Indian name, then you are not allowed to take your baby home. That is called hostage. You feel me? How do you think we end up with the names that we have? That's how we end up with those names. Okay? Y'all want truth? I hope y'all can handle the truth. Okay? Hope y'all can handle it. Give me a second here. I got to take a break because whenever I do these lectures, man, it does something to me. Let me just catch my breath here for a second. Because it pisses me off. It does something to me. And the truth of the matter is, I'm not mad at these morals. I'm not mad at them. To them it was all business. That's why they say, man, listen, it's business. Don't take it personal. You know who I'm mad at? I'm mad at my people. I'm mad at my people for continuing and allowing these things to happen to us. All right? Because they want to play these games. They want to wait around for sweet Jesus to come save them. Jesus ain't coming to save you, man. Nobody's coming to save you. You feel me? Because you were doing this to yourself by your own free will. You did. But anyway, mothers were not allowed to take newborn children home if they were not given an Indian name. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Even today in their hospitals, okay? If you don't want to sign their birth certificates, what? They want to hold you hostage in the hospital because now they want to make you a corporate slave. Ain't nothing changed. Nothing new under the sun. Y'all better recognize. You did. This policy, along with the overzealous enforcement by Dr. Plecker, he wasn't no doctor to me, he was a son of a bitch, has left many Virginian Indians searching for what? Their true identity. Okay? Their true identity. I am going to incorporate, if I may, into the record an article by respected journalist Peter Harden, who did research on this in a comprehensive article that appeared on March 5th, 2000 in the Richmond Times-Dispatch. It shows a good research into this matter, and I would like it on the record. It is on the record. Okay? It is on the record. March 5th, 2000. The point is, the Racial Integrity Act left the records of thousands of Virginia Indians inaccurate or deliberately misleading until 1997. Huh? What you talking about? As governor that year, we signed into law legislation that directed state agencies to correct all state records relating to Virginia Indians, reclassifying them as what? American Indian and not colored. Huh? Y'all think Chief don't know what he's talking about? As governor, my administration championed this initiative after learning of the pain and the concern of this racist policy and how it inflicted that pain on many Virginia citizens. All right? That link is in the link below. You could go ahead and read the rest for yourself. It's gonna open up your mind. I just want to go back here real quick, just up here, real quick, and reiterate. Okay? The passing of, I'm going back to the top. The passing of the Racial Integrity Act of 1924 began a dark time in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. This measure, which was enforced by a state official, the registrar of the Bureau of Vital Statistics, a man named Walter Ashby Plecker, you son of a, watch your mouth, Chief, sought to destroy all the records of the Virginia Indians and recognize them as colored. I just wanted to end that part on that note. Go talk to these Native Americans. How many of them was called colored? So like I said, I ain't got time for the debate, man. I'm only here to drop facts. That's it. All right? So that is in the link below. Like I said, the lesson plan is in the link below, so let us proceed. All right? We doing good time right now. We good. All right? There are many books on prehistoric America that speaks on the Aborigines of this land, including their description. So you could go check that out. Now, here's another reason why we shouldn't call ourselves natives. All right? Here's a reason why we shouldn't call ourselves natives. Why we should not identify as natives. Y'all gonna learn today. It's either y'all gonna bend or y'all gonna break. I would rather you bend with the truth, but don't break. Please don't break on me, all right? Hang in there with me. Let's go into etymology again. Etymology is the original meaning of a word. Let us look at native, adjective, late 14th century, natural, hereditary, connected with something in a natural way. From Old English, native, native born in raw, unspoiled, 14th century, and directly from Latin nativus, innate, produced by birth, from natus, past participle of nasi, Old Latin nasi, be born, related to giner, beget, from pi root, give birth, beget, with derivatives referring to procreation and familial and tribal groups. Now, pay attention to this. From the late 15th century, as born in particular place from early 15th century, as of one's birth, also used mid 15th century in a sense of bound, born into what? Servitude or serfdom. Also as a noun, a bondsman, serf, native, attested what? From 1956. You feel me? 1956. So I'm telling you, these native people are new. Okay? To be a native means, all right, you are bound, born into servitude. Why do you think they are under contract with the federal government? Because they are slaves, all right? Bondsmen, native attested from 1956. These people are new, all right? They are just put in place to take our place. Now let's look at the noun. The noun. When you call yourself a native, that's what you're calling yourself. That's why the government could do what they want with them. Person born in what? In bondage. From native adjective, and in some usage from medieval Latin, nativos, noun use of nativos adjective, compare Old English, naive. Also woman born in what? Slavery. From 1530s, person who has always lived in a place, applied. You hear that? I'm going to read that again. You see, it's all in the words. When you read, you have to read with understanding. Don't just read and believe what your eyes see. Your eyes has been deceiving you for too long. Chief Kalanago is here to open up your eyes and make you see. That's why it says in the damn book, those who have eyes, let them see. Obviously, everybody have eyes, but not everybody can see. So I'm going to make you see today. All right? I'm going to take the veil off. Let us read this again. Now, mid-15th century, person born in bondage. That's a native. So when they're going around screaming, you're not a native, I'm a native, you know what? You could keep that. I don't want to be a native. I'm not a native. I'm not in bondage. I'm not a slave. Keep that. It's yours. I don't even think they even know what it means. At least not the young ones. But you see, they have to perpetuate the lie for so long to take our place that they're going to suffer for what they're doing to our people because they know the damn truth. At least the elders do. Okay? And a lot of our people know. Those in Hollywood know. Those in the government know. And even some of them on YouTube know who we are. So let them go get their tribal cards and be natives because they get a little privileges. They are selling you out. But like I said, Chikalanago is no sellout. Let us read this again. Native, 15th century, person born in bondage. From native adjective in some usages from the medieval Latin nativos. Noun use of nativos adjective, compare Old French naïf. Also woman born in slavery. Now check this out right here. From 1530s as a person who has always lived in a place. And that is only from 1530s. Before 1530, calling yourself a native didn't mean that you were born or lived in a place or who has always, you feel me? So now these modern day natives, they could say, well, you know what? We are natives and we have always been here, but it's only because of 1530s, the change of the narrative of the meaning of the word, persons who has always lived in a place. So on paper, okay, they have always lived in the Americas, but it's implied. In actuality, it is not true, okay? And applied from mid-17th century to the original inhabitants of what? Non-European nations where Europeans hold political power. For example, America, what? American Indians. By 1630s, hence used contemptuously of the locals from 1800 related natives. They are telling you right there that they are not the original people. Right here. In the etymology of the word. Y'all gonna learn today. Y'all want the truth? Can you handle the truth? That is the question. I already told y'all, I don't do videos for likes. I don't do videos because I'm bored. I do videos because I got something to say. I got something to teach. And I have facts. All right? Facts. So I ain't no damn native. If y'all want to be native, go ahead and be native. Now, let us take a close look at the word pickaninny or the variations thereof. And the reason for that is because, and I chose that word specifically to show you the wordplay and the games that they play. Every time it comes to the American Aborigine, they always tend to make things look bad. So check this out. Let's pick the game, right? So if you click that link, it's going to take you to Wikipedia, but I already clicked it. So we're going to go right here. Pickaninny. Now, brothers and sisters, I want you to pay attention. I would like for you to pay attention very closely, very, very closely to the games that these people play. So we're going to read. That's off Wikipedia. The term or the word pickaninny This article is about the ethnic slur for the mountain in California, see Piccaninny Buttes. For the impact structure in Western Australia, see Piccaninny crater. Not to be confused with Picatinny as a U.S. arms research base and a type of fitting for firearms. Piccaninny, also Piccaninny, different variations, is the North American usage, a racial slur which refers to a depiction of a dark-skinned child of what? African descent. Now you hear that? I'm going to prove to you that it's some bullshit. All right? I'm going to prove that to you. They say a dark-skinned child of African descent. It is a Pidgin word from which may derive from the Portuguese pequenino, a diminutive version of the word pequeno, little. In modern sensibility, the term implies a caricature which can be used in a derogatory and racist sense, according to the scholar Robin Bernstein, who describes the meaning in context of the United States. The Piccaninny is characterized by three qualities. The figure is always juvenile, always of color, and always resistant, if not immune to pain. Now remember, they say that Piccaninny is a racial slur, all right, but it was used in a depiction to describe a dark-skinned child of African descent. All right, now usage. Although the Oxford English Dictionary quotes an example from 1653 of the word Piccaninny used to describe a child, it may also have been used in early American vernacular to indicate anything small, not necessarily a child. In a column in the Times of 1788, allegedly reporting a legal case in Philadelphia, a slave is charged with dishonesty, handling goods to be known to be stolen, and which he describes as insignificant, only a Piccaninny corkscrew and Piccaninny knife. One cost 6 pence and t'other a shilling. The antidote goes on to make an anti-slavery moral. However, when the black person challenges the whites for honestly handling stolen goods too, namely slaves, so it is perhaps more likely to be an invention than factual. The deliberate use of the word in the context, however, suggests it already had black vernacular associations. In 1826, an Englishman named Thomas Young was tried at the Old Bailey in London on a charge of enslaving and selling the Gabonese women known as Nora, Piccaninny, Jonker, Jack, and Guabin. All right? Now, let us read just a little more. There's a point behind all this. Okay, there's a point behind all this. I just want to prove something to y'all. All right? Give me a second here. In the southern United States, Piccaninny was long used to refer to the children of African slaves or later of any dark-skinned African American. While this use of the term was popularized in reference to the character of Topsy in the 1852 book Uncle Tom's Cabin, the term was used as early as 1832 in an anti-slavery tract, The History of Mary Prince, a West Indian slave related to herself, published in Edinburgh, Scotland. So once again, the term Piccaninny was used in colonial Australia as an Aboriginal child. That is the point I wanted to make. So you see, when it comes to us, it has to be something derogatory. When it comes to us, it has to be something that deals with slaves from Africa. But yet still, when it comes to the Australians, you see what I'm saying? Like, brothers and sisters, I gotta show y'all the game that these people play with us. And that's the reason why I wanted to read this thing to you, so you could see and let it make sense. I'm gonna read that again right here. I'm not gonna read the entire thing, but I'm just gonna show you this right here. Just this little one part that I'm gonna highlight right here, okay? Where you see it's highlighted in blue. Pay attention to what I'm reading to you. Although they are saying that even the term Piccaninny was used in colonial Australia as an Aboriginal child and is still used in some indigenous Creole languages. So my question is that, how is that when it comes to Australia Aborigines, Pickaninny means an Aboriginal child. But when it comes to the American Indians on the American continent, black people, African Americans, all of a sudden, it has to be an African child of a slave. You see, the continued genocide of our people with the wordplay and giving things different meanings in different areas. All right? That's what I wanted to point out to you. Now, an Aboriginal child. What's an Aboriginal child? Huh? Anytime you hear Aboriginal, the only thing they talk about is Australia. They never talk about the Americas. Huh? That's right. Every time it comes to us, they want to flip everything around. When you hear Aboriginal child is a general term, but they always associate it to what? Australia. Aboriginal Australian is a collective term for all indigenous peoples from Australian mainland and Tasmania. This group contains many separate cultures that have developed in the various environments of Australia for more than 50,000 years. So my brothers and sisters, I want to show you again the dishonesty, okay, that's being done to our people. The same word in Australia, it means an Aboriginal child, but when it comes to us, no, it got to be niggas from Africa. You feel me? So I wanted to point that out. Just wanted to point that out. So that's why I chose that word to show you the semantics and the games that they play with our people. All right. Now let us do some more further digging. The racist history of Peter Pan's Indian tribe. Click here for the article. I already clicked it, so let us go click on that link. But of course, it's in the lesson plan, which you could download and have it for yourself. All right. Let us go here. Now, the racist history of Peter Pan's Indian tribe, even in the early 20th century, though critics saw Tiger Lily and her fellow what? Pickaninnies as career catchers. Check this out. In Peter Pan, look at the description of the Indians. They don't look like the natives to me, but you see, the truth is always put in front of you. But because you are so blind, because you know, the distractions got you, you can't see it. I remember when my son was maybe about in kindergarten, when he was about 3 or 4 or 5, they had him draw something. And guess what? I don't know where he got it from. I guess it was in his DNA. He drew an image, a picture. I have it up to this present day. And right now my son is 19. Okay? My son draw a picture of an Indian and made the Indian dark and draw a pale man, and you know, of course, the complexion of the pale man. Where did a child, okay, at 4 or 5 years old, got that image from? Huh? Why didn't he draw the picture as a native? Because guess what? I never exposed him to TV. So he never saw the description of those natives the way they showed it to us, because I never exposed that to him. That was in his DNA. And he drew that native with brown skin, which is the American Indian. So I'm showing you here again, okay? The original, showing you in Peter Pan what the Indian looked like. And that's from left. Princess Tiger Lily. Princess, that's right. Princess, okay? Princess. Indian chief and Peter Pan. Look at their complexions. Now, we could go ahead and read the whole article. I'm not going to do that. You could go read it yourself. But I'm just showing you again, Pickaninny is the same word that was used here. But how come when it comes to us, even if they're showing the true depiction of who we are, once we start being cognizant of what they're talking about, they're telling us, oh no, it's only allocated to African slaves. It was absolutely in my son's DNA. Okay? Now, let us proceed. I'm giving y'all some juice today. Y'all better learn. Okay, so let's go again, picnic. But it's picnic because in the Caribbean, you know, we use that term all the time. That's another variation of what? Picnic. Picnic. Look at that. Chiefly in the Caribbean, English, a child. Okay? In the Caribbean, we say, yo, that's my picnic. You feel me? That's what we say. How is that? Where did we get that from? Because that's part of our language. It's part of our culture as American Indians. You feel me? Anybody from the Caribbean know who a picnic is? A pygmy is a child. So I'm giving y'all the facts. I'm giving y'all the facts. All right? Giving y'all the facts. Now, this right here is just an image that I want to show you guys with our compliments, Pickaninny's little redskins. And we know when you see the redskins, how come you see redskins on here, but you see a dark woman with an umbrella? Huh? You feel me? Because when they say redskins, they don't mean because the skin is red. It's an undertone. All right? So when they refer to us as the red man, that's why it was easy to trick our people into thinking that these so-called natives are the original people. All right? Now, when the facts are just too overwhelming to dispute that, those are not my opinions. This information is public information. So this is not coming from Chief Kalanago. Just know, I'm not just spewing my opinions. I'm showing you facts. All right? And if y'all don't believe me, I'm going to show y'all more facts. And this is coming straight from the museum of the British Museum. You feel me? Because guess what? Everybody else know who we are except us. Now check this out. This one here is gonna say, this one here is just gonna send everything out of the roof. It's gonna blow the roof out of the building. Okay? And this right here is facts. This is not opinion. You could go do, like I said, do the research yourself. You ain't gotta believe me. But check this out. This is from the BritishMuseum.org. Okay? This is public information in the BritishMuseum.org. The British Museum collection online, an emblem of America, museum number. The number is right here as well. So brothers and sisters, I'm not making this up. An emblem of America, all right? The print, museum number 2010-7081-586. Title, object, an emblem of America. Description, an allegorical figure. They say an allegorical figure. What does that mean? Allegorical means implied, or it may not be real, or it symbolizes something else. That's all it is. The same thing with the Bible, right? It's all allegory. But check this out. An allegorical figure show a full length standing to left, head titled to right, wearing a leopard skin fringe gown, plumed headdress, quiver and beads, holding a bow in one hand, arrow in the other, landscape with vines, with firs, mountains, waterfall, and river in the background in an oval frame, 1801, hand-colored mezzo tent with etching. Look at the woman, an emblem of America. How come they didn't put a native? I'm going to let that rest here for a second while I drink some water. Y'all think this is a game, huh? And what does it say? Producer name, published by Haynes and Son. School, what? Slash style, British. What it says? Ethnic name. Representation of what? American peoples. What's the date? 1798. Where was the natives at? Y'all think I'm playing with this? Huh? Y'all think it's a game, huh? Brothers and sisters, look at this right here. And I give you all the information. You could go verify it for yourself. Okay? Let us look at the ethnic name. Ethnic name, representation of American people. So who are the true Americans? What does it say? Date, 1798. Published in what? Europe, British Isles, England, London. So these Moors are telling the truth in England as to who we are. They're telling the truth, but they will not tell us the truth here. All right? They would tell us, oh, we are Aborigines, but we are Moors. Now, we ain't no Moors. We ain't no Moors. At least I'm not. I could only speak for myself. So here we go, man. You feel me? All the information is there. Y'all do what you want with it, but I'm showing y'all the facts. All right? Showing y'all the facts. That's in the British Museum. Registration number and everything is there. All right? So here we go. I just wanted to bring that up again. Much respect to my people. All right. Let us go back to the course and let us come here. We are almost at the height of the lecture. We are almost here to conclude. Then here comes the big questions. All right. So I'm also putting some questions because you have to think of those things here. All right. If all this is true, then why is it so hard for the so-called black people to see the truth? And why don't they just tell us the truth? They, meaning the powers there be. It's very simple when it comes to the people. Allowing the colonizers to teach us our history and expect them to tell us the truth. You see, we send our children to the colonizer school. And when I say colonizers, I'm not talking about white people. White people, they're not your colonizers. Your colonizers are the Moors, the people who look like you right now. They are in power with their pale-skinned brothers. And they are the ones that's the colonizers. They are in cahoots together. And even some of our own American Indian brothers and sisters. Because now it has transformed into the have versus the have-nots. You feel me? It is very, very simple. We allow our children to be taught by the colonizers. Another reason, cognitive dissidence. And that's a very big one, and I have to break that down. You see, the dictionary result for cognitive dissidence is a noun, psychology, the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. And I had to elaborate on that some more. From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, in the field of psychology, cognitive dissidence or dissonance is the mental discomfort, psychological stress expressed by a person who holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values. So what's happening to our people now? They have a belief or an idea that was taught to them that we came from slave ships in Africa. And here comes the truth. So now they are in a state of confusion. Don't know which truth or which falsehood to gravitate to. So it's causing them a psychological stress, a mental discomfort. It's the same thing with Jesus. Our people were taught that Jesus was real for so long. Now here comes truth coming out. Jesus was never real. They're in a state of what's called cognitive dissonance. It causes mental stress. When confronted with the facts, contradict beliefs. You see, when you give them the facts, they still can't see it because they're still caught up on the beliefs. That's why I tell people there's a difference. I don't deal with beliefs. I deal with facts. Show me, prove to me. Now I am giving you the facts. And when you have facts or the know or the truth, it takes out all beliefs out the window. Because in the word believe or belief, you have the word lie. But in truth, there is never a lie. In the facts, there is never a lie. When confronted with facts that contradicts beliefs, ideals, and values, people will find a way to resolve the contradiction to reduce their discomfort. So that's cognitive dissonance. So to relieve or release or resolve the discomfort that they feel, they rather just go with the lie because it's easier. People don't like change. People are afraid of change. And some of them, it's not that they don't like change, they're just afraid of change. They are afraid. Religion, that's a big one. See, the majority of our people were taught to just sit back and allow the mystical Jesus to come save them. The conversion of our people from our spiritual beliefs to foreign religious dogmatic ideologies. Okay? When you truly study history, and in the midst of studying history, you will learn our story, and what you will come to find out is this: we didn't have these foreign deities. We had a system of spirituality. We had a symbiotic relationship with nature. Everything we saw the creator in everything, because the creator is in everything. However, the colonizers came and gave us their religions, Christian, Judaism, Islam. They are all foreign to our continent. Our ancestors were not Christians. Who the hell is Jesus? Jesus ain't coming to save nobody. Jesus wasn't real. But you see, cognitive dissonance. You will give them the facts, but they get scared. Oh, you're going to hell. Hell was created by Rome. Hell is not a real place. You create your own hell because of your ignorance. You are living in hell because of your ignorance, the lack of knowledge. That is hell. But they taught them to be sheep. Taught them to be sheep. Just sit back and let a man in a suit tell you what to do, what to think. Oh, well, you know what? Let me tell you what God said. Now, why can't I go straight to God and ask God myself? Why do I need the middleman? Huh? Oh, well, you don't understand the language God speaks. Well, how come you understand it and I don't? You see, these Christians don't ask questions because they were taught to be sheep. As long as you pass the offering, the tithing, they will continue to mislead you because it's a business. It's a corporation. These pastors know the truth. I just came from a so-called revival event in Maryland. Okay, I have to go meet a brother there because he wanted me to come do a lecture in the church. You know, and I'm like in a tough position because I don't want to go there and speak religion and alienate myself or the people by attacking their religion. So I'm not going to do that. But I am going to show them the history. And in the history, they will find the truth. And it's up to them if they want to gravitate to the truth. But when I get to the part of the history where we were not Christians, I'm not going to hold back from telling the truth. And then they had a guest pastor. And it's like he's telling the truth, but he's not telling the truth. He's telling an interpretation of the truth in its metaphysical sense, and the people are taking it literally because he was telling the truth. But the way it was implied, it was from a literal perspective when it wasn't meant to be taken literal, and he didn't tell the people that. And that's where the deception comes in. So these pastors know the truth. But you see, they are also in bed with the federal government, the Vatican, the Pope, to take away our spirituality, our greatness, and put it in this fake concept of a man named Jesus that never existed. All right? So that's another thing is religion. Finally, last but not least, from the powers there be perspective. The doctrine of discovery. Now, the doctrine of discovery, I'm just going to read a little bit of that. It's all about commerce. It's about business. I'll read a little bit of that. Okay, not that it's really pertinent to the lecture, but I just wanted to touch on that briefly so you could see where a lot of that started. All right, a lot of that started. The discovery of doctrine is a concept of public international law, expounded by the United States Supreme Court in a series of decisions, most notably John versus McIntosh in 1823. Chief Justice John Marshall explained and applied the way that colonial powers laid claim to lands belonging to foreign sovereign nations during the Age of Discovery. Under it, which means the doctrine of discovery, title to lands lay with the government whose subjects traveled to and occupied a territory whose inhabitants were not subjects of European Christian monarch. Okay, we were not Christians. The doctrine has been primarily used to support the decisions invalidating or ignoring Aboriginal possession of land in favor of colonial or post-colonial governments. When we look at the definition of Aboriginal, indigenous peoples, also known as First Peoples, Aboriginal peoples are native peoples are ethnic groups who are the original settlers of a given region, in contrast to groups that have settled, occupied, or colonized by the area or recently. Okay? So it is showing you what the doctrine of discovery is. In 1823 case was result of collusive lawsuits where land speculators worked together to make claims to achieve a desired result. John Marshall explained the court's reasoning. The decision has been the subject of a number of law review articles and has come under increased scrutiny by modern legal theorists. History. The doctrine of discovery was promulgated by European monarchies in order to legitimize the colonization of lands outside of Europe. So they brought the doctrine of discovery. Okay, it's like, okay, well, if we discover it, well, it's ours. That was the whole concept behind the doctrine of discovery. All right, but again, how could you discover something that people were already there? So they're talking about discovery from their perspective. Between the mid-15th century and the mid-20th century, this idea allowed European entities to what? Seize lands inhabited by indigenous peoples under the guise of discovery. Same thing I just said. In 1494, the Treaty of Tordesillas declared that only non-Christian lands could be colonized under the doctrine of discovery. So let me ask you a question. Here again, the truth lies in the details. Only non-Christian lands could be colonized under the doctrine of discovery, right? Isn't the Americas discovered? Wasn't it part of the doctrine of discovery? So therefore, America was not a Christian land. Brothers and sisters, I rest my case. Okay? I rest my case, man. I rest my case. Now, at the end of the day, it's all about commerce and business. It will not be in their best, in their, okay, I have to correct that. You know, there was supposed to be, you know, TH, you know, EIR. But in their best interest to tell us the truth. They have to keep the masses as slaves to run their machines / the government. Please share. Email me, Chief Kalinago, at everyone'saslave@gmail.com to build or to request my services. Services include legal issues and your indigenous standing and more. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. All righty. Let us get back here. Man, like I said, it's a beautiful thing when the truth is told. You feel me? When the truth is told, and I'm just honored that you know, my ancestors put me in a position where I'm able to articulate the truth to our people. All right, the truth is all in the details, and it's up to you to, you know, do your own research, do your own in-search, and that's what it's all about. So, brothers and sisters, I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Man, I had a great time. I had a great time. Thank you. We've been on here for a minute. And like I said, the link for the lecture is below. So now you have it to yourself. You could click the links, do your own studying. And at the end of the day, you know that what this is, okay? In conclusion, moving forward, what do we do? A lot of people are asking questions. What do we do? Well, first, we have to identify who we are. We have to give them back their blackness. Give them back their Black History Month. Give them back all of that. It is not us. It is not us. This is the curse of the pale man. Give them back their identity. Okay? And the people who put in place, the people that they put in place to lie to our people. Okay, you know them. They're on YouTube. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. Every day in their lectures, they call themselves scholars and doctors and, you know, master teachers. They are the ones calling you African Americans. They are the ones calling you black. Just know that they are sellouts, man. They are agents. They are working for the crown. You guys are absolutely welcome. Okay? They are working for the crown. Don't be charmed by their charisma. Don't. because they have sold you out, brothers and sisters. So at the end of the day, this is what this is all about. So you have to start holding these people liable. When they have their videos, put them on blast, call them agents, because you see, they are profiting of you being dead. In law, that is. Okay, they know you don't exist. So they are playing the game of the colonizers. So that's number one. Number two, you have to start teaching your children the truth. Okay? Go ahead and start updating your children's ethnicity or their identity in schools. Stop calling yourself black. Stop calling yourself African American. Stop letting people call you niggas. You see, you are responsible for your own life. You are responsible for your own life. You feel me? It's your responsibility. Nobody's responsible for you but you. Nobody's coming to save you. Jesus aren't coming to save us, family. Allah is not coming to save us. Buddha is not coming to save us. We are the ones to save ourselves. Because why? You have free will. And it's your fault that you are enslaved right now. Okay? We have to come together. But everybody always have their interior motives. Everybody always have this personal agenda. That's why we're not getting anywhere. Because every other ethnic group could come together and work together and build. But when it comes to us, it's always a problem. We always want to look at what the next brother or sister got. You know, we have to let go of these ways. All right? You are going to see a lot of things manifest in 2019 moving forward. Earlier, I was sun gazing, and I'm not sure those of you, if you sun gaze or you know, but I've been sun gazing for a while. And while I was sun gazing, I'm literally talking to the vibration and the energy of the sun. And I'm asking the sun to show me some things I haven't seen before. Show me. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing like, you know, it seems like there is something in front of the sun. It seems like there is a protective covering in front of the sun, right? And behind that is an actual sun, the actual light. But yet still, I'm seeing cracks. I'm seeing cracks in the covering, meaning that the sun is trying to show itself. It's breaking the barriers that they put in front of it. And I saw that and I was amazed because I've never seen that before. Now, mind you, I've sun gazed before and I've seen that covering on the sun. I've seen it, a disc. Literally, there's a disc on the sun. I have seen that before. And the actual sun, the real sun, the light is trying to come out, but that disc is like a magnet. So it's keeping it in place, and the real true light is not coming out. But yet still earlier today, when I was sun gazing, vibing, all of a sudden, I'm seeing like little cracks in there. And I'm like, okay, something is happening. So y'all gonna see some things manifest in 2019 moving forward. And you're going to think you're in a movie, and some of y'all are going to get scared, and that is the ancestors working. All this is about to fall apart. The illusion is about to fall apart. It's time for truth to step in. People are going to get to know that churches are telling lies, pastors are telling lies, they're not telling the truth. Jesus wasn't real. Allah ain't coming back. Those are just names that were given to the Great Spirit or the source. The source doesn't have a name. You cannot name an energy. Well, you can, but the energy didn't give itself no name. You have to ask yourself the question, what is the name that a dog uses to relate to the creator? What name does a tiger use? What name does an elephant use? There are no names. It's just an energy they know that exists within them that gives them the awareness of a higher power. You feel me? But I will tell you how I see our people, okay? Sometimes you have to get out of the situation to know what situation you were in. I'm going to give you an analogy. It's like a fish. A fish doesn't know that it's in water unless you take it out of the water. I'm going to repeat that. A fish doesn't know that it's in water until you take it out of the water, because now it's in an unfamiliar environment where it can't breathe because it's not in its natural habitat. So with that being said, our people are in a what's called a natural or an unnatural habitat, depends on the perspective, right? That we are in a situation and we have gotten comfortable. We can breathe, right? But you have to take yourself outside of that box. Stop being black. Stop being African American. Stop being that fish in the water and step out of your comfort zone and challenge all the lies. Challenge your congressional, your congressman, your congresswoman. Let them tell the truth. Put them on notice. Write them letters. You see, one thing I respect about Caucasians is this. Caucasians don't go out there talking about white lives matter. They don't do that. What they do is they write letters. The pen is mightier than the sword. They write letters, and all of a sudden things change. But our people always want to curse and fight and argue, be in the streets, well, debate, always be in the streets. Oh, black lives. No, black lives don't matter. You don't exist. You don't exist. And that's the problem. So you are comfortable. But the only problem is you are not in a big ocean swimming. You are actually in a fish bowl in a house, like a goldfish. But you think, you're the bomb because, you got a few little trinkets. You know what I'm saying? A few little gold toys in your fish tank. And you think you got it all. But my brothers and sisters, the world is your oyster. You are living an illusion. And they give you just enough for you to think that you are living life. But you are not living life. You are constantly in a state of survival. Okay? I don't see Chinese going around talking about, once again, yellow lives matter. No. Because you see, they know who they are. Once again, may I reiterate, we are the only people whose identity have changed. We are the only people, just think about it, right? We are the original people of the land. But any other ethnic group could come into our land and be successful except us. Whose fault is that? It's yours and mine. The world know who we are. The world respect who we are, but they don't respect us. You see, there's a difference. There's a difference. The world respect who we are because they know who we are, but they don't respect us because we don't know who we are. For those of you who don't know. So with that being said, there's still work to be done. So once again, the email is in the link below. It is time to build. A lot of people want to know, well, Chief, what's the next step? Well, guess what? We're going to be holding some classes, okay? Some private classes, and we're going to teach people about the indigenous standing and the process. Like I tell people, it's more than just a dossier. It's a whole process. It's a lot of work, okay? We have been going through this indoctrination, the brainwashing, the miseducation, the misinformation for so long. A lot of people just want the microwave effect. Oh, well, you know what? Oh, just give me a piece of paper and it's all said and done. No, it doesn't work that way. It's a lot of work to be done. And if you're not willing to go through the fire, then you're not ready for this. If you're not willing to give up the sports, the football, the basketball, the TV shows, the scandals and the likes, if you're not willing to give that up, stop idolizing these celebrities. If every situation, an R. Kelly situation, a Chris Brown situation, a Gucci situation, I mean, it's just so many distractions, man. If you're not willing to just ignore all those things, then this is not for you. The train is going to come and pass you by. And trust me, the train is going to keep moving, with or without you. For me, I'd rather be on that train because I'm making moves. But too many people are complacent. All right? They are complacent. And who's paying for that? Our innocent children. Because we spend too much time just putting them in front of a television. Oh, well, let the television babysit you today. Oh, baby, you're 2 years old, 3 years old. Here's a cell phone. Go on YouTube. Not realizing what's happening to our children. Okay? You have suggestions that are centered. which are called conscious suggestions. And of course, I'm using that word conscious very lightly, but an awareness that's called centered. In other words, it is easy to see the deception, the suggestions from others. And then you have what's called peripheral suggestions. And those come from what they call commercials. It is subliminal in movies. You feel me? You are not seeing it directly, but it's being registered in the back of your mind. And it's planting those seeds of destruction, chaos. And we have to get away from those. We have to get away from that, man. Get away from the matrix. You got to unplug yourself from the matrix. All these channels that's here calling you Black and African American, don't subscribe to them. Don't feed into what they're teaching, their energy, because energy is a form of what? It's a form of digestion. It's a form of intaking food. It's a form of eating. Okay? And when you take those people's energies, then you become what you eat. I'm not going to sit around and watch a video for 15, 20 minutes and longer of anybody calling me African American or Black. I'm not going to do that because I have to protect my energy. You feel me? So what's happening to you is your fault. Nobody's fault but yours. But yours. Okay? Or you could send me an email, and everybody who sent me the email, well, we're working on the particulars right now, but we're pretty much done. I figure within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should start the classes. So send me an email, let me know you want to register for the class, and we'll make it happen. But like I said, it is time to put in some work, okay? Because everything is voluntary. You are volunteering yourself to be a slave, okay? Now, if we were Aborigines from the very onset that the colonizers came to our land, you would see why I don't want to be federally recognized. Why? Because the federal government is new. So why would I want to be under the jurisdiction of a foreign entity on my land to ask for their permission to do what I have to do in my land? I don't want that. You feel me? So we have the highest authority on this landmass as the original people, okay? Or as a man or a woman, period. You feel me? But if we were to talk about titles and statuses, as the Aborigines of the land, nobody's supposed to tell us what to do. But you see, because you have given your freedom away, you have given your birthright away voluntarily. That's what our parents did, which is, I'll get into that in another video, which I've spoken on that a few times before. But here we go. So brothers and sisters, once again, man, I thank y'all. One of my own cousins told me, I know my people came from Africa, and called a family member from their dad's side is bad and whose face all natives to this land. Well, you know, hey, some family do know the truth and some don't. And it's up to us to plant those seeds. For me, I tell people we don't have to force anything on anybody. However, we could plant those seeds, and if they gravitate to the information, then we could do that. All right. So like I said, my email is in the link below. For those of you who want to be a part of the classes, send me an email, just, you know, title classes. And if you can leave a contact number, that would be great. And we'll send you guys the information. We are supposed to be starting within the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe before that, but that's what we are doing right now. All right. So at the end of the day, man, we are making some moves, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely, you know, hit me up, because like I said, we have work to do, and it's not going to take a lot of us to move this forward. Okay, because once you see we start planting those seeds and we start making those moves, everything will fall into place. Everything will fall into place. Brothers and sisters, we are right there. But you see, we get so distracted with the energies that's pulling us back. Everything is, I'm going to give you an allegory I always talk to my brother about. And one thing, when I talk about the Bible, is not because the Bible story is true. You know what I'm saying? That's not what it is. I am talking about the message, the allegory in it, what it was meant to be, or what you could draw from the story. And I'm going to tell you a story about Lot. Okay? The Mosai told Lot that, you know, the Mosai is going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah for their iniquities. And Lot Lot said to the Most High, hey, if I could find 100 people in Sodom and Gomorrah, would you spare the entire city? The Most High said yes. Lot went to look, couldn't find 100 righteous people. It went down to like 80, I think 60 and 50, and it came down to 10. And Lot is like stressing, man, I can't find 10 righteous people in Sodom and Gomorrah. So the Most High said, I'm going to destroy it. So Lot pleaded and begged and said, listen, if I could find 10, he couldn't find 10. The Most High said, you know what? If you could find one righteous man in Sodom and Gomorrah, apart from your family, I will spare the entire city. Lot couldn't find one righteous man. Okay? So he had to flee. He had to leave the city with his family. Okay? And they were on their way out because the city was being destroyed. Right? All of a sudden, guess what? His wife got distracted. His wife got distracted and she what? She turned back. And what happened? She turned into a pillar of salt. I am saying all this to say, you see, there is a message in all of this. I am saying all this to say that we cannot save anyone but ourselves. We could only give them the information. Okay? We could only give them the information because people get distracted. And even people in your family, even when they seem to be on the right path, and even when they are on their way out of the matrix, they're getting ready to unplug. Guess what? All of a sudden, an R. Kelly video come up. They get distracted. Right? It's the same thing. People get distracted and they have to be left behind. Unfortunately, that's just what it is. Because everybody weren't meant to make it this time around. Okay? I'm not saying don't care about our family. Of course, we're supposed to love our family and relatives. But don't spend too much time trying to save people. In the process, you are going to condemn yourself. Because everyone has free will. And sometimes our loved ones are put in a position to distract us. You see, this thing is so deep. They are put in a position to distract us from our righteous path. And that's facts. So you have to know yourself well enough. You have to know on what frequency you are vibrating to detect those energies that's put in place to distract you, to turn you into a pillar of salt. All right? So yes, you guys are absolutely welcome. It's always a pleasure vibing with the fam. All right? And like I said, the email is in the link below. Send me an email, title, subject, classes, and we are definitely going to share that information with you guys. All right? And that's what we're going to do. He told this story wrong and wasn't talking to the Most High. He was Abraham uncle. Well, man, listen, again, everything is based on interpretation, all right? The Bible is all allegory. There's no right or wrong way. You feel me? There's no right, because no God came down from the sky and talked to no man called Lot. You feel me? So I'm not even going to get into that right now, but it's all in allegory. You feel me? I'm just telling you what I got from the story. That's my interpretation. So there's no way I could be wrong about that. All right? So it's all good. It's all good, fam. Like I said, man, we got a lot of work to do. And by all means, the email is in the link below. For those of you who have sent emails and I have taken a few days, to get back to you, I've been busy, really, really busy putting in some work. But I did return some emails, so I will continue to return those emails. All right. So please, just be in a standing with me and know that I am working diligently to make sure that we put some things together. All right, put some things together so we can start making these moves. So I'm about to conclude the video, and I appreciate, love you guys, man. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. You could have been anywhere today, but you chose to be on this live feed. I'm not sure when I'll do another one, but however, I will. Like I said, I don't do videos for likes, none of that, man. And those of you who actually donated to the super chat, and my also my Cash App is in the link below to show your appreciation. Man, thank you so much. It means a lot to me, because what I do it for the love and not for the likes. We have a lot of work to do. I will continue doing the work of my ancestors. I will continue doing the work on behalf of the Great Spirit, because we have to restore balance here on earth. And the truth of the matter is, the world is waiting for us, the American Aborigine. All right. So we definitely have lots of work to do. And I implore my sisters, I'm reaching out to you to really take a stand, to start teaching our children, because the children, the first place of learning is in the womb. You feel me? The first place of learning is in the womb. And also, I want to reach out to my brothers and support the sisters. You feel me? We have to protect our women. All right? We have to protect them. We have to protect our children. We got to stop being weak. We got to stop living in fear. All right? Fear is an illusion. It's not real. All these things is an illusion. Death is not real. We cannot be afraid. We got to stop being afraid, and we have to respect each other. Absolutely. I agree with that. We have to. And that's why I am not going to subscribe to that illusion of the black woman is God, like I told y'all, for many reasons. Because for one, I've never seen a black woman. That's number one. And number two, nobody's above me. We are all equals, and we're supposed to look out for each other. She cannot do without me. I cannot do without her, because it takes two to procreate. It takes two to give life. Okay? And without the two, we could never have the one. You feel me? So with that being said, I'm not here to tell you things that you like to hear. I am here to give you the facts. And if you can't deal with the facts, then you got the wrong platform. All right? So everybody who's pushing that narrative, once again, they are looking to profit off of you, because they know women are emotional. So once you start telling a woman what you like to hear, man, I'm telling you, you got her. You got them. It's either you get in their purses or you get in their drawers. It's two reasons why a man is going to tell a woman what she want to hear. So I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Okay? Tell her what she want to hear. Two reasons. To get into her purse or to get into her panties. Or both. You feel me? But when you tell them the truth, you tell them the truth because you want them to build. You want them to be a better woman. The same way I want them to help me grow. That's what it's all about. You feel me? That's what it's all about. And you have a lot of these people here on YouTube, that's what they do. Okay? To get in their purses or to get in their panties. I'm telling you the truth and the facts. It may hurt you, okay? But it's so that you could build, you could grow, become a better you, so that you could become a better us. And that's what it's all about. That is my motive. All right? Together we stand. Together we are stronger. All right? Together we are strong. So don't worry about it. Don't be scared. Anything you see that's happening in the government, the shutdown, all that stuff is an illusion, because they don't know what to do, because our ancestors are about to shut this whole thing down. So they don't know what to do. They're scrambling right now. I'm not afraid, because death doesn't exist. It's not real. It is not real. Okay? So everything that has to happen, it has already happened. All we are doing is stepping into our reality, but you have to be aware of that. All right? So I'm about to conclude. Please do me a favor. Share the videos as much as you can. All right? Don't force it on anybody. Just send it to your peoples. Let them check it out. If they gravitate to it, great. If they don't, man, it is what it is. All right? But got the email below. Send me an email. Register for the class. Everything is going to be, like I said, we got work to do. It's not going to happen overnight. But it's going to be a slow cook, because I don't believe in the microwave effect. All right? I want to put that on the grill or put it on 3 stones outside in the yard and get that slow cook. So when we cook, whatever we are cooking up, man, it's going to be a beautiful thing. I appreciate that, Brother Joseph. I appreciate that. All right. So it's going to take some work, one step at a time, together. And we're going to shut this whole thing down. All right. We're going to make it happen. Now, when I say shut this whole thing down, I'm talking about the illusions, the lies. All right. The truth has to come out. You feel me? Yes, I mean, and I think Asia, Dewberry. I'm glad you didn't get caught up in this whole, black woman is God BS. You feel me? Because it's a bunch of bullshit. That is just a means to hustle the people. Okay, that's just a means to hustle the people. That's all it is. It's all it is, because they know the truth. They know the truth, and I know for a fact that they know the truth. But you see, the truth don't put money in people's pockets. it don't get me paid. You know what I mean? It don't. If I was here telling you guys how black you was and how much power you have and how much you are God, man, trust me, you would see this whole chat with nothing but donations, donations, donations. Oh man, chief, black power, all that. But here I am telling y'all the truth. So that's why I said I really appreciate those who took the time to support, because the truth is not popular. And I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to give you the facts. You feel me? And remember, before I conclude and I get out of here, everybody weren't meant to sing Kumbaya. All right? Everybody weren't meant to sing Kumbaya. You have to remember that. Because some energies came here and manifest here to be disagreeables, brothers and sisters. It's in their nature. And we cannot take that away from them. Okay? So it's like you trying to change the nature of what's supposed to be. You are wasting your time and you are causing yourself harm. Okay? Some people came here to be disagreeables. Some people came here to be destructive. Some people came here and manifest here to create chaos. And misery love company. Okay? I heard one of the pastors said, and like I said, they tell the people the truth. They do, but they do it in a way where they are still misleading. And too many people are still dealing with demons that they are holding on to. Let go of those demons. Let it go. Move on. It is time for a new chapter in your life. You are the author. You are the screenwriter. It is your script. You are the director, the producer, all that. Make your movie what you want it to be. Make your book what you want it to be. The next chapter in your life is all about you. And the question is, are you willing to give up what you are, who you are right now, for what you want to be? That is the question. It is all up to you. You can make that change. Nobody else but you. Okay? And be guardians to your children. Turn those televisions off. I don't care what the hell you say. I pay that rent. Ain't no TV. Get rid of the cable. Get rid of all that. Learn to read books. And stop allowing televisions to raise your children. Okay? Stop allowing televisions and social media to raise your children. And times are going to get harder. Believe me. Donald Trump already told y'all, America is divided. And the only way that Americans come together is when they suffer. The man already told you. So prepare yourself for what's coming. With that being said, you have to learn to become a family again. Come together. Share the rent. Share the responsibility. It doesn't make sense. You see, the culture we used to have and we used to live, you were talking about grown men and women still living at home. That was our culture. There is nothing wrong with that because it took a community, it took a village to raise the children. But we learned the ways of the colonizers. And before your daughter, as a woman, before she even turned 15, she already looking at ways to leave your house. You already looking at ways to kick her out. Same thing with our children. Fathers, sons, daughters, same thing. Because that's what we were taught. Okay? That's what we were taught. Give me a second here, guys. Let me just take the opportunity just to do this real quick. That actually crossed my mind, but I'm glad I'm doing the live now. All right, cool. Okay, so that's what's happening to us. You feel me? Because everybody want to do their own thing. I want to pay my own rent. Man, it's an illusion. Okay? Come together as a family. Caucasians do it. Africans do it. Asians do it. Arabs do it. Every other culture comes together, okay, and build each other, and they're successful. But we always want to do our own thing, you know? So we have to change the dynamics of the way we think about each other and the way we treat each other. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, all right? And remember, there's a difference between relatives and family, all right? Relatives can be family, but relatives are not always family. Family is the people that's there for you in need and indeed. Family are people that's there for you because you are vibrating on the same frequency. You are on that same vibration, on the same energy. Okay? Relatives are blood by all means. And yes, some relatives can be family, but too many relatives are not family. So pick your family very wisely. Okay? Very, very wisely. And let's build. So once again, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your continuation. And for those of you who have to go to work the next day, get some rest. Man, share the information. And like I said, I'm gonna be doing another video soon. Not a part 2 of that per se, but it's a video, with another, variation in terms of standing as a man and woman and dealing with law and the legal situation and the legal system. So I'm going to do a video on that. I'm going to break a lot of things down, but definitely this video was about showing you facts and proof as to who the original people are. Of course, we already knew that, but giving you researchable material and material that came from a factual place. All right, without the speculations. All right. So I just felt in my spirit I had to do that today. So thank you. All right, it says it's into the I want to join. I want to join the classes. Like I said, don't leave your email here. Send me an email. My email is in the link below because I'm not in the position right now to grab any emails. So send me an email. Let me know. Everybody who want to register for the class, we're gonna create like a little email list, okay, or email group rather, so we could start sending you information. And it's gonna be a beautiful thing. We're gonna build and we're gonna work and we're gonna grow and we're gonna do what we have to do. Remember, everything is free will. All right, there is order in the universe, and we have to start putting things in order. Okay, it is up to us. All right. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and peace, love, harmony, and light to each and every one of you. And I do thank you. I just definitely want to give thanks to all my brothers and sisters who support. Give thanks to my ancestors for allowing me. It's an honor to be here working on their behalf, and they're always guiding me and protecting me. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm honored. All right, and we will talk soon. Peace. I'm out.